Chance of getting feedback back into my ears. We're working out here at the moment, but yes, there we go. Getting stuff, but we're should be rolling now. All right, on a Monday, getting things figured out because we are at high school media days. This is a cool thing that Mike Sauter has put together over the last couple of years. Been this morning and all throughout today, along throughout the state of Nebraska, and couple weeks seasons. And what Mike Sauter has done is given kids, coaches, and all the above the opportunity to come out and whether it's get interviewed. Maybe, hey, look, I'll say this: when I was a high school athlete, a poor high school athlete, and there just happened to be somebody who was covering one of our games or something like that. I was looking around. I was like, hey, don't you want to interview me? They didn't have any reason to interview me, but there I was, and it was sort of the goal is like, hey, I'd love to talk
team
about
is doing, and some
what
kids
the team
don't
is
have
doing.
that sort of
Some kids
experience.
don't have that
So Mike
sort of
Sauter,
experience.
who is a normal guest on Monday shows here on the Connor Happer Show, has thrown this thing together. He does it for all sort of the different seasons. Today we're at and really all across the state too. So today we're at the Omaha version of Mike Sauter's Pinnacle Bank Media Days, and we'll be joined by some coaches, some local student athletes, and Sauter himself to talk about not only the event, but also the high school sports season, which is coming up, and then we'll have a semi-normal show around as well. No Josh today still. He should be back tomorrow, and we should be rocking and rolling back in studio tomorrow as well. We'll talk Husker football with Mike Schaefer here in just a little bit. Actually, at the bottom of the hour, Nebraska had their practice open to the media for about 30 minutes, maybe a hair more this morning. So there's some pictures that are coming out from that, and then there will be some media availability. Mark Whipple, some offensive assistants that will be talking here in about an hour or so. So Schaefer is going to join us a little bit early. We'll talk at 10:30 to him. I'll ask him. I'll try and pry some hot takes out of him if I can, from what he saw this morning, what the bodies look like, right? What the body language looks like. So we'll get into that and all the things that sort of happened over the weekend as well. And then I believe today is our final opponent preview, and we'll be talking Oklahoma with Tyler McComas. He's been on the show a couple times before, sports talk radio host out of Oklahoma City. We'll get an update on the Sooners. I got to say, that'll be happening straight up at noon here, and then we'll mix in. Don't exactly have a schedule for you yet, but we will mix in some coaches and some players from Omaha area schools that are important, that are a big deal this high school football season. So that is sort of the lineup today, which is powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. I got to say, on Oklahoma here quickly, I mean, Tyler, and just judging off of his tweets and talking to him a little bit over the last couple months and over the summer, there seems to be this sort of sense around the country that Oklahoma is down, or that now would be a good time to catch Oklahoma. I don't know that is the wrong idea. I don't know that it's not the right time to catch. It is the right time to catch Oklahoma. They're certainly maybe as vulnerable now as they have been over the last couple of years. It's been a really, really strong football program, really strong quarterback play. They're going to have another strong quarterback this year in Dylan Gabriel. But how does a new head coach go about his first summer? Well, we can speak from experience from around here. Several times over the last decade, more than a decade now, Nebraska has been through some head coaching changes, and you know what happens in that first offseason, that first winter, that first spring, and then into that first summer. Well, positive momentum abound, recruiting in very, very good shape. That always happens under a new head coach. Recruiting momentum, things of that nature. So I would say this. While it might be the right time to get Oklahoma and the bullets start flying in September for the Sooners, well, you can carry some of that positive momentum into the fall. So we'll touch on all of that with Tyler in the noon hour. And we'll have our odd news as well. As always, we got sad news over the weekend with Bill Russell passing away, and I think one of the things that immediately comes up, I guess, unfortunately, but it's good on one hand to compare players of eras, and then it's sort of bad on the other hand. We don't have to do that. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. Trev Alberts setting out to be compliant in Title IX. There was a story in the World Herald over the weekend, something that doesn't necessarily happen all the time, just based off of what was talked about in that story. We have the Deshaun Watson news today. 6 games from the NFL. What happens after that? What's the appeal process look like? There are plenty of things to cover in that regard as well. Mark Whipple will be talking probably in an hour or so here. Nebraska lost a commitment over the weekend. We'll have Schaefer, of course, on that one. And then we'll have normal Husker football talk as well, the give and take between the offense and defense. I do want to talk about that. Did you see the Maui Invitational draw for Creighton today? Yeah, I mean, if you forgot, Creighton is in the Maui Invitational, the Maui Gym Maui Invitational, which is always a funny brand sponsorship for that. The Maui Gym Maui Invitational. Creighton's going to play Texas Tech to start things off. The bracket is out. You're going to have Louisville and Arkansas also on the same side of your bracket if you are the Blue Jays. You look at this. So just a quick one here on Creighton. In Ohio State, San Diego State, Cincinnati, and Arizona. They're all in the Maui. That rounds out the Maui Invitational this year. Creighton, Texas Tech, and then Louisville and Arkansas are on the same side as you. You look at it as a whole, and it's not the most star-studded. I mean, I just always felt like this event used to have more blue bloods, and that's not a slight to any of the programs that are in this, because these have all been really consistent winners. These are almost like the hardworking blue bloods of college basketball, right? Don't exactly have blue blood status, but pretty much do, with the exception of Arizona, probably. These programs don't have the the Duke status, the Michigan State status, or whatever, North Carolina around college basketball. But what they do have is a lot of wins over the last decade or so. When you include all those programs in there, Creighton has been one of the most winningest programs in the country over the last 10, 20 years. Whole bunch of NCAA tournament appearances, not a whole lot of NCAA tournament wins, but you just have a bunch of programs that win 25, 30 games every year. Here's Mike Sauter. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how are you doing?
Great. Excellent.
I'm good.
You're good? You come back whenever. Right. You come back whenever. Yeah. Mike Sauter will pop in whenever he wants to. But on that Maui thing real quick. So looking at it, and I haven't looked exactly at the way too early or the preseason top 25s in a while here, but it looks to me like, I don't know, Creighton could be one of the, if not the favorite of this. I mean, Arkansas, I know, is getting a lot of love in the preseason, returning what they get to return from last year as well. I mean, Texas Tech, San Diego State, Ohio State, Louisville, Arizona, those are always going to be solid programs. I mean, they should be the favorite because Creighton is one of those teams that is going to be in the mix for 1 seed and, a Big East championship. And when we're talking about it that way, we're talking about a team that is going to be a favorite in a lot of games they play in this year. It's sort of a weird adjustment, I guess, at least. For Creighton fans, it's been a long time coming. And I always like to mention anytime we talk about the Jays, but the program has certainly changed a lot since we knew it growing up. And now it is completely different, almost unrecognizable in a good way, because it comes with a lot of high profile winning and things like that. So Creighton is basically one of the headliners of the Maui Invitational this year. The first time in the Maui Invitational, and they're basically one of the headliners of the Maui Invitational, which is, I don't know, that's a heck of an achievement in and of itself for a college basketball program. It's done a lot over the last several years. And then a brand study that was done basically we have a person that went around and a survey that went around to recruits and or college or high school athletes, 1,000 high school football players, asking them the same simple question, which was, if you were the number one recruit in the nation with offers from every program, how likely is it that you would choose this program? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that you would choose this program? The results were averaged to produce the official visit brand score. This is from officialvisits.com. And so the programs were ranked based on that. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the show because it yielded some interesting results and some that, of course, I have thoughts on. I did not win the lottery over the weekend. I am here. I'm happily here. I did not expect to win the lottery over the weekend, but here we are. Chance rolls on with us this morning for a while. It'll be Nick in the second half of the show as well. Like I said, we'll roll on with our guest today. Mike Sauter will drop by at some point. Mike Schaefer will join in the bottom of the hour here. We are firing things up on a Monday from high school media days, as we'll talk to some coaches, players throughout the program as well. You're listening to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
The way they follow the flight of the ball on home runs is annoying and terrible and wrong. And I don't understand who out there, whether it's a television consultant or somebody.
Jimmy Pitaro.
You can make a pop-up on the infield look like it's going to go 500 feet. And it drives me insane.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Heating up Monday, expect partly to mostly sunny skies, hot and muggy in the afternoon, highs around 95 with heat index values up to 100. Most of the evening should stay dry, but there is a slight chance for an isolated storm after 7 p.m. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Dingman's Mechanical Repair. We would rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
There are actually two kinds of cigars. The first is the one you smoke with beloved family and friends. The second, the one you enjoy with friends you've just met. And you'll find both at Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge. At Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, there's a well-stocked humidor with some of the best bands from around the world and a bar with your favorite cocktails and other drinkables. So what do you say? Which cigar will you be enjoying tonight? Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's.
Hi, everybody. Gary Sharp. You know, if you've been in Nebraska for a while and you love going to sporting events and you're getting your hands on the best tickets, there's a good chance you bought them from Ticket Express. Well, I'm here to tell you that Ticket Express has a new name. It's Tickets for Less. So if you've loved the quality customer service and the community feel that Ticket Express has brought us over the past 3 decades, have no fear. Tickets for Less is going to be here with the same energy and the same selection. Ticketsforless.com. Always the best seats at the best prices to your favorite sporting events. And if you ever need anything, just give them a call. 402-398-1999 and tell them Gary sent you.
You don't have to wait for the weekend for brunch. Delicious breakfast and lunch items are served daily. Get to Early Bird Brunch today in the Blackstone District in Shadow Lake Town Center. Early Bird, not your everyday brunch. every day. Early Bird offers a variety of fun pancakes, eggs, Benedicts, omelets, and beverages, including a full breakfast cocktail menu. Dine-in or carry-out is available at both Blackstone and Shadow Lake. For more menu info, go to earlybirdbrunch.com. Early Bird Brunch, where the early bird gets the pancake.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's credit cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.3% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
So, how are the kids?
Well, Emily made the honor roll.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, we're really proud of her. Tyler, on the other hand, though.
What's going on?
He's been moody lately, just feeling down and not like himself.
Oh, we've been there. Nick was struggling last spring. He was so anxious and stressed.
Really? What helped?
Well, he joined the soccer team. And ever since, he's been a lot happier. He has more energy, he's less stressed, and he's definitely in a better mood at home. It's made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting out of the house, he's getting some exercise, and he's off his phone for once. It's been good for his mental health.
Sounds like it's been good for your mental health, too.
Participating in Nebraska high school sports improves students' physical and mental health. Encourage your son or daughter to get involved. This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Social Security is with you through life's journey from birth to retirement. As your life changes year to year, so do your needs. For over 80 years, Social Security has helped to meet your needs and is committed to improving access to the services that make a difference in your life. Today, you can verify your earnings, estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, manage your benefits, and even change your address, all from the comfort of your home. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. As we mentioned before, we're here at Elkhorn High School, which is the home of an event that Mike Sauter's putting on called the Pinnacle Bank Media Days. Good opportunity for everybody to come out. High school football season is ready to go. We're kicking things off with the fine folks from Ashland Greenwood, and we're starting things off. Coach Thompson is here, along with a couple of his guys in Braxton Buck and Luke Lambert, gentlemen, and they're going to be sharing a microphone, so they're going to have to get up close to it. How are we doing? Did we start practice today already?
We haven't. We don't have a 0 week, so we got 1 week to go.
Okay.
A little bit of relaxation before the big haul.
Excellent. So is it starting to finally feel like it, guys? Like football firing up? Go ahead, get right in there. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been last week we had a camp with Waverly, so it was nice to just get back on the field, hit somebody a little bit, and just get the feel of like how we're going to work together this year.
Is that what you miss of most during the summer?
For sure.
Just not hitting guys. So I mean, from your guys' perspective as leaders, what do you try to get done in the next couple weeks as you march closer and closer to the season?
I'd say just like start a good foundation, I guess. just kind of get a plan for the first week and just keep working together with your teammates and just building bonds with each other.
I mean, I was in a football locker room. I wasn't in the position that you guys were in, but I sort of this can be in a really important time for teams where you look back and during the summer and just the leadership component of it, starting things off strong, building momentum. Like if you're in a rough position around this time, that's a bad spot to be in, right? Like you want to be in a good spot as you go on toward the season. Coach, I mean, talk a little bit about these guys and how they're, whether it's their leadership, I guess, what stands out to you when you think about the guys that you have here today, Braxton and Luke?
Yeah, they represent their senior class and really our team really well. They're really no nonsense guys. They go to work. It's a yes coach type of mentality. We're going to do anything we can for the team. And just knowing that we know we're going to be successful. I don't know what wins and losses are going to happen. I don't know how far that takes us, but I know it's going to be a successful season. It's going to be a lot of fun just for the fact that we don't have to worry about our team. They're ready to go. They're going to be prepared. They're going to be listening. And now we just have to get them in a spot to win.
What's the biggest thing for coaches? I mean, right, like in this time, starting camp and then as you get into camp?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing we as coaches, our goal is not to have kids burned out by August 8th. Okay, we know that August 8th through hopefully sometime in November, we're going to have a long season and we don't want to be burned out to start. So it's that equal match of let's make sure we get things done this summer so that we're ready to go August 8th, but let's not make sure that kids are not excited to be there on August 8th. So that's kind of been our mentality. Like the first 2 weeks, like the kids said, our goal is to, come together, make sure we're focused on what we're doing, make sure we're right. And then that final week of preparation for our first game, we want to be locked in.
I'll ask you the same in a second, but you guys are, one of the favorites in your class in Class C1. Do you talk about expectations and what you want as a group this year, or is it sort of just unspoken?
Yeah, we always have the thought of like we want to be the top seed or like be the best in C1, and so we just gotta show up. Then we gotta execute on Friday nights and get to the grind.
Yeah, you guys talk about it with among coaching staff. Just sort of about the expectations that you guys have a group, or is it week by week?
I mean, your coach speak's going to say week by week,
yeah.
But we get caught up in it too. We like the opportunity to have our kids go through a season that they're getting some recognition and they are producing at what they do and they're having a lot of fun. But when it comes down to it, we're going to accept any role, embrace any role that someone puts on us.
Yeah.
But we know when it comes down to it, it's us versus us, and we need to make sure we're better each day. But it's fun to think about. I was a kid once too. We had those aspirations when we were in high school. So why not let kids have those aspirations? And if we talk about it, you sometimes talk your dreams into reality eventually.
Right. Well, there's so much change, that goes over year to year at the high school level. Everybody has a lot of turnover always. But I mean, how much do you guys think about as players and then as coaches as well, how last year ended and then how that either works for you or against you going into this year?
I think it just kind of left a sour taste in our mouth, Every time you walk on the practice field or in the weight room, you kind of have that in the back of your head, and you're kind of just ready to work a little bit harder.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
It works to your advantage. I mean, is that something that gets talked about in the locker room? Hey, we're just a couple points away from a state title.
I think the kids, we've done this so long and we've had some good teams along the way. I think the kids just kind of understand that's an ultimate goal. And for them to have that in the back of their mind, I think that just leads to better results every day. We never really talk about it. We're not going to sit here, start practice number one and go, we were this far away and this and this. We're just going to say, hey, here's the thing. We played a hell of a game with Pierce. They got us in the last minute, went back and forth. We're close. Is there something we can do today at practice that maybe gets us a little bit closer? So it's one of those things. I'd rather be in that opportunity than not have that opportunity. But boy, walking off that field last year was tough. Every senior class, you lose some great seniors, and we did. We lost a bunch of them. But these guys are ready to kind of take that next step, hopefully, and lead in their own way. And we'll fill in those gaps with some guys that are really eager to play.
Guys, thanks for stopping by. This is a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to talking to some of the people that you guys are going to be playing this year. I mean, maybe one more generally, how competitive it is, whether it's in your class or as you look around the rest of the state.
Oh, absolutely. I think you look at, and I'll go from C1 from Western Nebraska to Eastern Nebraska. There's competition everywhere. I think there is a couple handful of teams that the media would probably put in a top 10. And I don't think you're wrong. I don't think anyone that's in that top 10 is going to be not accepting of that. But boy, it's going to be a drag out fight once you get to districts. And we were in a 1-16 battle last year with Adams Central. That was a 16 team. And there's no doubt if you're fortunate enough to get in the playoffs, you can make a run on any given night. So I think our kids know that. We're excited for the competition. We don't shy away from it. We're going to have a lot of fun along the way too. So it is a game, and we want to make sure we make it memorable for everyone involved all year.
Braxton, Luke, Coach Thompson, thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it, and good luck this year.
Awesome. Thank you.
Those are the boys from Ashland Greenwood, as we'll take a quick break here, and we'll come back with Mike Schaefer next on 1620 The Zone.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory. Explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Come here. I got a secret weapon that'll make your family happy. Real happy. It's my new caramel toffee cookie combo. My big chocolate chip cookie covered with caramel and toffee bits. Add any medium specialty pizza piled high with the best toppings and loads of mozzarella on top. Plus any medium one-topping pizza. Caramel toffee cookie combo. Order now. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Do you have big plans for your business? Get access and get growing. If you need a commercial loan or line of credit, the experts at Access Bank can help. Learn how today at accessbank.com. That's accessbank.com. Member FDIC.
United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and America's largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal law enforcement agencies through our many varied programs, including free safety equipment donations, free officer survival training, cash donations, and condolence letters to the family of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty. USDSA also offers college scholarships for the dependent children of law enforcement, along with a citizen awareness program and thank you cards to law enforcement. These are just some of the ways United States Deputy Sheriff's Association assists America's law enforcement and the citizens they serve. For more information about United States Deputy Sheriff's Association or to see how you can help, visit www.usdeputy.org. United States Deputy Sheriff's Association, taking training to the next level because lives are on the line.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding.
Whoa!
Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for more severe food shortages? It's likely that over the next year, serious food shortages will plague us. American farmers are dealing with insane diesel fuel prices and fertilizer shortages, which will lower crop yields. And that means your family's favorite foods will soon be in short supply while fetching sky-high prices. Inflation is the new normal, folks. It's time to act before things get even worse. Go to mypatriotsupply.com without delay. You'll find Ready Hour emergency food kits from My Patriot Supply that last up to 25 years in storage. Each kit provides over 2,000 calories a day to keep your energy up. Order your emergency food kits today by going to mypatriotsupply.com. Your food ships fast and arrives in unmarked boxes. Listen, there are ways to beat food shortages. When you're ready for real preparedness, make sure to look for Ready Hour foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. mypatriotsupply.com.
All right, welcome back. We're at the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. We are at Elkhorn High School, where it's media days for high school athletes. Just talked to the folks from Ashland Greenwood out there. That's good. The runner-ups in Class C1 last year. But let's talk some Husker football, as there was open practice this morning for 20 minutes, and I haven't seen any hot takes from Mike Schaefer on Twitter yet. Schaefer, hello. How are you?
I couldn't really, put together any hot takes. I was busy playing Ansel Adams, getting some of the best photos anyone's really ever seen. So,
wow.
When you're looking through the lens, it doesn't give you the opportunity to put together the hottest of the takes.
I haven't heard too many reports on like the music selection either. I felt like that's a normal thing that happens on the first media open practice.
Yeah, as someone who knows me reasonably well, you'll probably know that I never have ever paid attention to what is played musically during practice. So I certainly, I can't really bring you a whole lot. I guess I'm pretty much worthless for you here.
No, this is why I'm asking you the questions, because I know that you're not going to have answers to them. This is exactly why, because I figure these are your favorite types of questions. What's the music like, and what are the hot takes? But realistically, was there anything that sort of stood out to you just from an observation standpoint, whether it's a body type, or I always like to look at the younger guys who come in and sort of what that looks like right away. You get a sense of who could be ready to play in a couple weeks. Like, was there anything in that regard?
It's hard to say. So I think one of the things that's difficult with kind of sizing up this team, and I think if you had been down here, Connor, you'd probably agree with this. Like, everything just feels slightly different because there's so many different pieces. And so when you're watching the wide receivers warm up, you almost have overload because you're trying to get eyes on Trey Palmer. You're trying to get eyes on Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda, who we really haven't seen, at all. Marcus Washington is there now. Oh, by the way, Alante Brown and all these other guys are expected to kind of pop up as well. So I think part of it for me this year is, your head is whipping everywhere because there's so many people that you're accustomed to seeing that are no longer there, that everything kind of just feels new. I mean, you got the quarterback are out there throwing, and it's just kind of weird. We didn't see him obviously in the spring, but we didn't have open practice in the spring. It's just sort of weird. Like, there is no presence of Adrian Martinez. I have to say that stands out a little bit because for 4 years, that's just kind of what you grew accustomed to. So that was a little bit different, where you have Casey Thompson up there kind of leading the stretching, leading the clapping and the hoorahs before they got out there to do some special teams work and everything else. If people want to take note of that, I think both he and Chubba Purdy were, up at the top sort of line of people standing there facing the rest of the team out. So whether that means anything or not, I don't know. But, it's just, there's a lot of sort of freshness, I guess, if you will, around everything, because there's just so many different pieces, from coaches to assistants to players. It just all looks and acts a little bit different.
It's funny that you mention it that way, and there's actually a lot of thoughts I have on that. Like, the leadership part of it will be interesting to see how that develops. But I find it funny how, we talk about the things that Casey Thompson does as a leader, and it almost has to be sort of mentioned as like, oh, okay, what's Chubba Purdy doing? Like, how long throughout camp do you think that'll keep going, considering like there's going to be a starting quarterback at some point, and they have to figure out who that is?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be that way into probably the third week of August. And then at that point, maybe it just sort of settles into, okay, well, it's Casey's job while he has it kind of thing. So I don't know that there's going to be a specific day where Frost or Whipple or whoever is just like, yep, that's our guy. He's our starting quarterback, kind of has been all along. But, if that were to come, probably still going to be a few weeks out from it. Because I think Chubba Purdy has every intention to make this a difficult decision for Frost and Whipple. And so he's healthy and, he's out there. I think it would have been really interesting this spring had he been healthy the whole time. But this isn't, for him, this isn't supposed to be a walkover. So it's kind of on him to keep the pressure on every day, Frost.
Who's as fall camp goes on, you mentioned how everything is sort of new. Who would you expect to emerge as from a leadership perspective outside of it? We're talking about on offense and not Casey Thompson. Is it just Travis Vokalek and then you sort of build down from there?
Yeah, Travis Vokalek, Trey Palmer, Ramir Johnson, those are the guys that have sort of taken on assumed roles. I think Turner Corcoran's going to be kind of the leader of the offensive line. I think that's kind of his personality. He's maybe the X factor of this whole offensive line setup, because if he's an interior offensive lineman versus a tackle, it sort of changes the complexion of what Nebraska's offensive line looks like. But I think he's going to be heavily involved, and I kind of just feel like he's going to step into one of those kind of leadership roles. But there's a little bit of a void, from what they've had in previous years. Certainly no Cam Jurgens, no Matt Sichterman, and then going way back, no Matt Farniak. So there's kind of been that void as there is, and I think that Turner Corcoran's going to kind of take that for the offensive line. Wide receivers, like I said, Trey Palmer, feels like that's very much going to be him. And then a lot of guys sort of falling into the spots there. And then at running back, it feels like it's Ramir Johnson, but he might be the leader of the unit, but he may not be the guy who gets the most carries, if that makes sense. So it's sort of a unique setup where your leadership is probably coming from guys on the roster that maybe aren't the best at their position room. And that's always sort of interesting to note too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7 is with us. I'm still curious about this, and with so much question about who they're going to be or what they're going to be, I mean, who knows where it lands. I've been curious about, the target. I mean, you could start it at like a target points per game or something like that, or you could think about it in terms of what the offense does for the defense and what the defense does for the offense. Last week, I was talking a lot about how, Eric Shenander has always been really okay with the idea that, they're going to be put in some bad spots sometimes. This defense, they lost a lot, especially up front. It's a concern right now for Nebraska on the defensive side of the ball. But I guess how much do you think they'll, with their offensive game plan and the give and take between the offense and defense, how much do you think they'll try to aid the defense and win football games a little bit closer to that way? I'm just so curious about, I guess, the formula that they are trying to put together and how they're going to try to win football games this year.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think Nebraska's defense has to play, they're playing a different front. They're going to be a different version than the one we've seen the last couple of years. I just don't know that they're going to be as strong on the interior without Damian Daniels there, or you really need Ty Robinson plus someone else to make a pretty big jump to help with your run defense. So I think Nebraska is going to be a lot better rushing the passer. Adding O'Shawn Mathis and putting Garrett Nelson at defensive end, and I think Caleb Tanner is going to have a lot to do with that too. But it's sort of like, you might have shorn things up there. They might have a more talented defensive back room now, which is kind of remarkable because you just had Cam Taylor-Britt go to the NFL, and you had very steady veterans in Markel Dismuke and Deontay Williams, plus JoJo Doman was essentially a defensive back. But I really like how that room sets up. So feel like Nebraska is built really well to defend the pass this year. It's just, can they slow teams down enough to, when they try to run, that it forces them to have to throw the ball? Because I think that kind of plays into Nebraska's hands a little bit. So they might be a more big play defense in 2022, but struggle more in terms of early down if they can't stop the run. Like, I don't know if that makes sense as I say it out loud.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Last year, they very much felt like, okay, you're going to get a few first downs, but we're going to get you off the field, or we're going to force a long field goal or whatever. This year, it kind of feels like, okay, maybe they're moving the ball a little bit, but if they put it in the air, we got a chance for a strip sack, we got a chance for an interception, we got a chance for an 8-yard loss on a pass rush. You know, it might be a little bit more boom or bust in 2022 than the safety that Nebraska's defense afforded in 2020 and 2021. I don't know how that works in complementary with an offense that I have no clue what they're going to look like.
Right.
So it's sort of hard to say how it might blend together. But that's my initial impression of what this defense could be in 2022.
I don't disagree with any of that at all. And my first thought is, I think that sort of defense makes more sense for, 2018 Nebraska or even like 2017 UCF or something like that. Yeah, it's weird.
It sort of feels like if you could take a steady offense and put it with that steady defense, great, or you need an explosive offense to go up an explosive defense. And it's just kind of, you might have that explosive offense. It's way too early for anyone to say at this point in time. It could all work out very well.
Yeah, I that's one of the more curious things. I mean, I think people draw the line from, they're going to throw the ball and they're going to throw it more. I mean, Whipple has always done that in his history. They're going to throw it probably more than they run it this year. I don't know that exactly equates to this is going to be a high flying, upper 30 points a game per game offense. But what could it be? Like, that's sort of the question. I think there's such a big gap between, what it could look like if it really works out, and then, if it's just average. Like, I guess, what is that range?
Yeah, I mean, I think I sort of expect it to at least be competent to, potentially great. And if it's great, I guess what it looks like to me is that on pretty much any given offensive play, they've got 4 different guys who can potentially burn a defense. And I don't mean just with like an 80-yard pass play or anything, but just like guys that can consistently get open. And it relies heavily on a quarterback that can read that defense and know where the ball's supposed to be based on his keys. And so, if Casey Thompson can do that, if he can basically just play pitch and catch, I think Nebraska has a chance to have an offense that could be, pretty good. I don't know yet if they have the ability to lean on a team and just run right at them and then just force their will. But I think that it's going to rely pretty heavily on, okay, you drop back, you got an option with Trey Palmer, you got an option with Travis Vokolek, Ramir Johnson, either in the slot or coming out of the backfield, and maybe you got Isaiah Castaneda going deep. So, I mean, it's really going to be relying on smart decision making. It's not all that different than what Adrian Martinez was asked to do. You just don't have the guy who I think is going to consistently escape pressure and turn it into a 40-yard run. That's really where a big difference feels like.
Schaefer, what happened with Ashley Williams? And in his statement, there was obviously a line that stood out that says there was a recent lapse in communication. I guess, what do you boil that situation down to?
Here's kind of what I know based on conversations I had before he had even decommitted, is that some people that were involved with Nebraska's recruitment of him liked him a lot. I don't know that it was a consensus feeling on him. There's some potential numbers issues that they could run into, but it really came down to, do you think this is a guy that can help you or not? And I don't know that Nebraska's on the same page there. So they have to figure that out. I mean, that's part of what happens when you go out and you get new coaches and you basically just say, all right, go get the best players you can. Well, you're not just recruiting your position, and not every position coach loves every recruit or commit that's brought in. I mean, that's the reality of it, and especially when you're sort of in this, everyone's trying to do what makes them look good thing too. So it's I don't know. There's stuff Nebraska has to figure out with their operation. There's no question, but In the meantime, I feel like they lost a kid in Ashley Williams that was the exact type of pass rusher they've struggled to recruit over the years. So it felt weird to me that Nebraska wasn't all in on.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of felt odd it sort of came out of nowhere, unless you really, really follow it, sort of like yourself, Schaefer. Like it, I don't know, to the general recruiting fan, or certainly the general Nebraska fan, is like, okay, who is this? And it I don't know, just sort of felt off from the beginning, and maybe that's what you're referring to. That's certainly that's odd that you wouldn't have the backside of it, the internal part of it, sort of tied up, I guess, before you accept the public commitment.
Yeah, well, that's some of the difficulty. A kid commits during a period of time where guys are on the vacation. It's one of the few weeks of the year that they can actually get away where there's no recruiting. I don't begrudge the coaches for that at all. It's just more so, I don't think this is the only situation like that among Nebraska's commitments. I don't think it's the only situation like that among recruiting that's going on for the Huskers. So they have to figure that out. They can't let this be more than a one-time thing.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Odd situation there. All right, Schaefer, we'll let you go. Appreciate the time. Feel free to tweet out some hot takes whenever they come across your brain there.
I'll ask notable youth Brian Christopherson what music was being played, and I'm sure he'll look at me like I'm an idiot. So I'll let you know how that goes.
All right, see you, Schaefer.
See you guys.
Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see too many tweets about that this morning. Here was the music. Here's a rundown of the playlist. Usually the media is surprised or sort of, I don't know, they're taken aback by the variety of music that happens when people walk into those practices a lot. Like there's some, just from experience, there's been times where you walk in and they're playing like some AC/DC type of stuff, like loud, hard rock. And then it'll sort of slow down to country, or you'll go to like a party country thing. There's definitely some rap that's thrown in there as well. Altogether, it's a pretty good playlist, and I'm sure it's well thought out, if we're telling the truth as well. But it's eclectic. It's eclectic, and people always like to comment on what the music choices are at practice. But definitely not a question for Mike Schaefer, not up his alley as well. All right, we're with you here at High School Media Days here at Elkhorn High School. We're going to be rotating through players, coaches from around the metro here as we go on throughout the show today. Thanks to Schaefer for joining. We may bring that back to you a little bit in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll talk some Oklahoma with Tyler McComas. He does sports radio in Oklahoma City. We'll have the odd news, which is coming up during the show. I know Mike Sauter is going to drop by as well. Plenty to come on a Monday installment of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
As a veteran, you get a lot of advice. But wisdom's harder to come by. A lot of people imagine themselves in our shoes without understanding the weight on our shoulders. The truth is, few can understand the pressure of finding your own way after serving in the military. But few isn't none. You've got support. You can't control the chaos, but you can chart your way through it. Steady yourself. Take a breath. You're not alone. Learn more at maketheconnection.net.
Email Sharpen Betting on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever's on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me at Gary at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Malarkey shingles are durable, high performance, impact resistant, and beautiful. Carp's Complete Home Exteriors is a certified Malarkey Shingle residential contractor. For a free estimate, call Carp's Complete Exteriors or visit carpsomaha.com.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action? Did the caller know your Social Security number or other personal information and tell you that your Social Security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your Social Security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment, email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Hi, everybody. Gary Sharp. You know, if you've been in Nebraska for a while and you love going to sporting events and you're getting your hands on the best tickets, there's a good chance you bought them from Ticket Express. Well, I'm here to tell you that Ticket Express has a new name. It's Tickets for Less. So if you've loved the quality customer service and the community feel that Ticket Express has brought us over the past 3 decades, have no fear. Tickets for Less is going to be here with the same energy and the same selection. Ticketsforless.com. Always the best seats at the best prices to your favorite sporting events. And if you ever need anything, just give them a call. 402-398-1999 and tell them Gary sent you.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations, so you get the product you're looking for. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Morning, Mama. How you feeling?
Great, and I'm ready for you today.
I'm checking in on you. Morning meditation?
Check.
Dressed and ready to work out?
Check.
Check your blood pressure yet?
And check.
Boom! Great job, Mom. And about those gold earrings?
No, ma'am.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Monitor your blood pressure daily and help each other stay motivated. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
All right, welcome back. Happy Monday. An hour down here at the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mentioned we're at Media Days, high school Media Days. Didn't go to Big Ten Media Days last week. We're at high school Media Days this week. Sat down with Ashlyn Greenwood in the last hour. We welcome in new coach, Millard South. Coach Ty Wisdom, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us on here.
And Brock Murtaugh with us as well, a seasoned vet by now.
Yep.
Brock,
Yep.
welcome. What's it like to be out here? This is sort of a unique deal where, you start off the season this way, and all of a sudden it starts to you're talking about your team, you're thinking about your team. Next week, all of a sudden it's go time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, obviously it goes fast. Me and Brock were just walking in here going, man, it's like, where did the summer go?
Yeah.
We finished our workouts last week, had 32 workouts summer. We had a good summer, and now it's time to put everything in fruition and see where we're at.
Feel like the summer went pretty fast, Brock.
Yeah, it flew by. It was fast.
So what's the next? I mean, what's mental preparation as a leader? What's it look like for fall camp? And then, what do you want the next couple of weeks to look like before you guys start the season?
Yeah, so, we started the summer, we had to learn the whole new offense. So it was kind of like we were really a step behind, but it was kind of like, we got to learn and then play football. So, we did a great job learning the playbook all year long. We just had summer ball. We just finished up that. It went really well. It was good to get the pads on, but, like you said, 1 week and then it's time to go.
Yeah.
So you got to get that mindset of, in a couple of weeks we start school and then bam, there's Millard West week 1.
Coach, that can be so difficult anyway, because your people are playing different sports during the summer. You don't have access to the full team. You don't have, enough time, as I'm sure, as much as you'd want, but even more so to do it as a new coach. I guess what's been the challenge over the last, couple weeks, months, just setting up for right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the biggest thing is everything takes time. And then when you're putting stuff in, you need everybody there as far as the install goes. And we've had pretty good and really good attendance as far as the kids being in there, buying into what we're doing.
Yeah.
We just keep preaching, getting better each day, just seeing a little bit of growth each day. And then obviously we're looking to play our best football in October, November. Right. Nobody wants to peak in August, and we know we won't be peaking in August, September, but we just need to continue to get better each week. And I think we'll have a chance to be a tough team to knock out late.
Have you been able to get a lay of the land around here and how things look, and how much of your players helped you in that regard?
Yeah. I mean, they've been great. We got some great senior leaders, obviously, in Brock, and Cam and Lance and Bryson Zimmerman, and just a bunch of different guys that have really helped. It's their team. I always tell them it's their team, and
yeah,
how they lead is how that season goes. And but as far as the layout of Nebraska, I'm from here, but I was gone
right
8 years, and so
it looks a little different now.
Things have definitely changed, and but it really excited to be back, and it makes the transition a little bit easier when you have guys like
I mean, it's a great way to go. How much different are things as far as, I mean, what stands out to you first, whether it's talent on your team, talent around the metro or around the state, the depth of how many teams are good and competitive, the coaching, like, is there anything that hits you first, or is that you have to go through a season to sort of figure that out?
I think, the biggest thing that jumps out is there's just not many multi-sport athletes there. Like, I never had one baseball player ever play football. I maybe would have 5 guys play another sport. I mean, that's just unfortunate, right? Because I'm a firm believer in being a multi-sport athlete.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we have a ton of kids that do it. So that's the big thing. And so you got to just be more flexible on that end. You got to be able to work with these other coaches and and give and take, right? Because every coach thinks their sport is the most important. So, that's one thing that jumps out. Obviously, there's a lot of talent in Nebraska. There was a ton of talent in Phoenix. Just, when you have a population like that in the Valley, there's just a lot more of it. Right?
Yeah.
So
Brock, I mean, on that sort of note, as you look, I feel like players are sort of closer now, even if you are at different schools. I don't know if that impacts the way you go about your business, but just knowing somebody everywhere, playing against them for whether it's the last couple of years or even before that, like, how long do your relationships go back with people, whether it's at other schools, whether it's just playing against them or, knowing who they are?
Yeah, so you really start playing, select ball when you're about in 3rd grade. If it's baseball, basketball, football, that's what I grew up doing. So, just getting older and kids, kind of playing more sports, you just know them. It's kind of crazy when, you know, freshman year comes around and you're playing something, you're like, oh, he landed at that high school. Yeah, I played it my whole life. That's kind of crazy. Or he's at that one. And yeah, you know, playing multiple sports, it's you have to do it. I mean, it helps you in so many ways. You know, I play basketball too, so defense is, you know, a big thing in basketball. And football, that's a big thing too. You know, so playing multiple sports is huge. It helps you in all the aspects in the game. So yeah, for sure.
I mean, I remember the feeder programs were sort of just starting up and stuff like that, but it would basically be the same teams or some, you know, the same core of the same teams from, like you said, third grade on.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is. You know, there's, you know, basketball, there's OSA, there's Express, there's Factory. I mean, all those guys, you know, you kind of grow up playing. They're always in the same program. You know, so when I was younger, I'd play and I'm like, oh crap, I got to play OSA today. You know, all these guys, and you know, it's crazy how all those dudes were all together. They seem so close, and now they're all at different high schools playing, you know, against each other every weekend.
So you guys both this. We're here with the boys from Millard South as they get ready to begin their season. Ty Wisdom, the coach, Brock Murtaugh. Brock is an athlete, but he's a wide receiver, right?
Defense. I play probably safety, linebacker, one of the two.
Okay, all right. So Brock's going to be on the defensive side of the ball a little bit. You guys, do you talk? Millard South is a program with, you know, has a lot of history. It's been really good over the last, you know, since I can remember. You talk about expectations, what's expected before the season, you know, amongst coaches, leaders. I guess how do those conversations go?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can get too far ahead of yourself. I mean, obviously there's high standards at Millard South, and that's the reason that I wanted to come back and run this program. But, you know, we're not talking about winning any game right now, or, you know, it's just about really, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it sounds cliche, but we got to go in and we got to dominate the day and continue to grow. And like I said, we have the ability to compete late in the year. I know we do, but we're nowhere near now. And when you start focusing on, oh, we need to be this, we need to beat that team, you get too far ahead of yourself. So that's just the biggest thing. And, you know, when you can continue to talk about that mantra, then the guys will focus on that each day.
Yep.
And then, like I said, nobody talks about where you're at and what you did in August, September. Their teams are remembered for what they do in the playoffs.
Brock, do you guys talk about, you know, what the end goals are in the locker room?
Yeah, for sure. That's always a thing. You know, it does start, you know, right after the season. You know, we lost Omaha North, but we started in December Lifton, and it started right there. That's when the season started. And just like Coach said, you got to get better every day. If you're not getting better every day, then, you know, you're just pushing yourself back.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I mean, being on the other side of that upset in the playoffs, you know, Coach is new, but he's had to hear about it, I'm sure. I guess, how much does that motivate you going into this season, the sour taste that was left in your mouth?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, the boys in the group chat, we talked about it every day. We know that, you know, we did a lot of things good in that season, but we took a lot of things off. You know, you got to change to not happen again. And with this year, we got to look at week by week. You know, we took Omaha North. They were the better team that night. They deserved to win that game. And we overlooked them. We looked to the championship game pretty much. And, you know, that taught us a lot of valuable lessons. I know even for the guys that are in college now, a lot of good lessons for them too, going into their college career, just to take it step by step and not look too far in the future.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What do you guys see in general? I mean, getting the perspective, like I mentioned, from other players around the Metro or talking to other coaches now, Coach, I mean, what do you see when you look around as far as the quality of competition around here this year? It's in my opinion, it's as competitive as ever.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I know there's a ton of great teams out there, you know, and obviously a lot can change year in and year out as a high school football team. And that's what's so great about it is, well, how good was your off season, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many sophomores are stepping up and going to help us this next year as juniors and different things. And so, you know, you find out a lot weeks 0, 1, 2, and 3, kind of where people are at as far as that goes. You know, there's always the ones that are talked about early, but, and that's just all smoke right now.
Yeah, that's right. Guys, well, we appreciate you coming out. So you don't have a week 0, so you're starting practice next week, and then it's all systems go, right?
It's all systems go, and this guy's he's full of baloney that if he thinks he's only playing defense,
Oh,
so
no.
we'll get him going on
Oh,
that,
yeah,
but he
for
might
sure.
not come off the field for us. So.
Yep.
Excellent. Guys, we appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks a lot for everything.
That's Coach Ty Wisdom from Millard South and Brock Murtaugh. We appreciate you guys, and thanks for listening. We will come right back. More up next on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
What's the best topping for a hot dog? Mustard. Nothing. Just mustard. Nothing.
Mustard.
Eat it plain.
God, you are weird.
That is not.
Weird.
No, it's not. That's normal. People eat their hot dogs plain. This is a normal take.
It's not a normal take. You got to have some mustard on it.
I don't like mustard. I like the taste of a
Josh
hot
likes
dog.
to bareback his hot dog.
Absolutely, I do.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Heating up Monday, expect partly to mostly sunny skies, hot and muggy in the afternoon. Highs around 95 with heat index values up to 100. Most of the evening should stay dry, but there is a slight chance for an isolated storm after 7 p.m. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory. Explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
So, how are the kids?
Well, Emily made the honor roll.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, we're really proud of her. Tyler, on the other hand, though.
What's going on?
He's been moody lately, just feeling down and not like himself.
Oh, we've been there. Nick was struggling last spring. He was so anxious and stressed.
Really? What helped?
Well, he joined the soccer team. And ever since, he's been a lot happier. He has more energy, he's less stressed, and he's definitely in a better mood at home. It's made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting out of the house, he's getting some exercise, and he's off his phone for once. It's been good for his mental health.
Sounds like it's been good for your mental health, too.
Participating in Nebraska high school sports improves students' physical and mental health. Encourage your son or daughter to get involved. This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
Frank's Pizzeria, an Omaha favorite, is this week's half-off deal. You'll receive two $20 gift vouchers, a value of $40 for just $20. Frank's Pizzeria is Omaha's home for true New York pizza, calzones, stromboli, pasta, sandwiches, salads, and desserts, now with 2 locations.
Zone Deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Before you know it, Husker football season is going to be here, and you want to be in Memorial Stadium or following the Big Red on the road. And while you look for tickets, look no further than ticketsforless.com. Formerly Ticket Express, they are your home for the best selection of Husker tickets inside of Memorial Stadium. And the best part, you'll never pay those outrageous fees like you do at other sites. Just compare. And you want to follow the Big Red on the road? Tickets for Less has you covered there, too. Find the best seats at the best prices to all your favorite Nebraska events, all in one convenient location. Ticketsforless.com. That's ticketsforless.com. Get in the stadium.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
This is Darcy with Dingman's Collision Center. We have run our business for years by helping the vehicle owner retain the value of their vehicle by working for them with warranted, safe, high-standard repairs. For this reason, Omaha vehicle owners have chosen Dingman's to repair their vehicles. Your loyalty has been shown through repeat business and amazing referrals. You've also voted us first place Best of Omaha for the past 17 years. We want to say thank you for choosing the Dingman family and our incredible technicians to repair your vehicles. At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's credit cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.3% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
All right, once again, you can always call, text, email, tweet into the show. You can email Connor at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank inbox. You can tweet at Connor Happer at Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Give us a call or a text, 402-951-1620. Connor Happer with you, Chance Oliver back in the studio for now. And we are at high school media days, so we'll be, upending things at various points throughout the show today or throughout the next couple hours as high school coaches and players walk by or as they're funneled to me by Mike Sauter. I think I'm going to grab Sauter for a couple minutes as well, and he's going to have a chance to gloat about himself, which he loves doing too. So we'll have that as we're out here at Elkhorn High, and we'll be here for the next few hours and then back to normal tomorrow in studio. Speaking of the high school ranks, how about this? Bellevue West Josiah Dotzler, this is on the basketball side. He has committed to Creighton. So that is, he's the most probably well thought of at the moment, 2023 basketball recruit, which he's, it feels like it was just yesterday where he was a skinny freshman hitting a big shot in the state championship game against Millard North, and now all of a sudden he's a rising senior, and had a big summer with one of the elite travel teams in AAU over the summer, and now he has committed to Creighton, which is a pretty good spot. Of course, his brother, a pretty good player there as well. So that's that on the high school ranking. Pretty big news there. Once again, we'll keep you updated on all things that happen with Nebraska football practice availability here as we go on throughout the show as well. That is scheduled to be coming up here pretty soon with Mark Whipple speaking. Earlier this morning in the NFL, it was recommended that Deshaun Watson be suspended for 6 games. Now, we'll see what happens. Maybe there will be some sort of appeal process. I mean, how long? This is the first thing that came to my mind. How long have we been talking about this? He did not play last year. And this has just been a constant thing. He was sort of gone. Deshaun Watson was sort of gone from the memory, from the brain. Most of last year starts to pop up. Of course, he gets traded, signs the big deal with the Cleveland Browns. That sort of tangentially touches the Baker Mayfield situation as well. And now it's the decision is finally coming down today, and it's going to be a 6-game suspension for Deshaun Watson. I will say this: there's a lot to go off of this, and we'll sort of break it into a couple parts here. But first thing is, man, am I glad this is over. Man, am I glad this is over, or at least sort of over. You're going to have the conversation about it during the season, and of course during the 6 games. I would venture to guess that the NFL is pretty glad that this is over as well. Do you stick with do you go through the sort of appeals process? Does it get sort of messier before it doesn't? Could he, is there theoretically a chance that he, plays, through, while the suspension is being appealed? Yes. But man, if I'm Roger Goodell and if I'm the NFL, as this is sort of passed down from an arbitrator, I want to just sort of move past it. I want to move past it as fast as I possibly can, and then just move on to the next thing. And I don't want to make light of it or whatever by saying just move on and wash your hands of it. But I just don't think the NFL wants this to be hanging over them anymore. It's not a great look. It's not funny it's not fun for anybody to really talk about. So I think what you want to do is sort of get it in the past, get the 6-game suspension. And then of course there will be drama when he appears on an NFL football field again. But man, and then the other, because what happens now is the suspension comes down and the length comes down. And what happens in sports when anybody gets suspended? There's disciplinary action coming, and everybody's sort of speculating on what could happen. I know on this one in particular, the thought was at the beginning, hey, man, this could be a year. Remember what was sort of presented to the NFL in terms of the cases that were actually given. I was reading some tweets this morning that were pretty, notable in this situation from Albert Breer, who takes you through the process a little bit. Number one, Sue L. Robinson's decision wasn't based on the 24 lawsuits of Deshaun Watson. It was based on 5 cases brought by the NFL. 4 of the 5 were plaintiffs. So yes, there are a lot more accusations against Watson, but this decision to recommend the 6-game suspension is based on the 5 cases that the NFL presented. The NFL and NFLPA negotiated this process in 2020, the process for Robinson to be involved, and the league agreed to it in part because some owners, after so many missteps in discipline over the last decade, wanted the NFL to take a step back in that arena, in essence, outsource some of it. So Roger Goodell and the NFL's decision here is complicated. Do they want to undermine the process that they literally just established, or do they want to go back to federal court, or do they want to go back to federal court with a player? If the NFL appeals and Goodell overturns, it could actually lead to Watson playing in the opener. If Watson were to file a lawsuit, the union in his camp would actually like to seek a TRO to put a stay on the suspension. If they got one, he'd play while his case was in court. So if the NFL now has, this is just the nuts and bolts of it. It's important. So the NFL has now 3 days to appeal, and I'd imagine to be paying close attention to public reaction over that time. And if they do appeal, it has to be based on Robinson's process, the facts and the cases. Remember, it's just the 5 cases presented are already established. So that's the whole thing. The NFL's disciplinary process has been much maligned over the last few years. So when everybody talks about the decisions that have happened in the past, as far as what players have got for suspensions, whether we're talking about drug suspensions or gambling suspensions or whatever, it's likely, now if they happened before 2020, they went through sort of a different process, took it out of the NFL's hands. Well, now we're going through individual sort of, arbitrators, for lack of a better word, I suppose, to figure out how many games or how much time being suspended, or maybe in some cases how much money it takes for a person to, what the right collateral would be for wrongdoings for any players in the NFL. That's why it's really difficult. So there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, man, Calvin Ridley gets suspended for, a year for doing a $1,200 parlay or something like that. And it doesn't seem, it just doesn't seem like it adds up here. I understand that. We do. But at the same time, I think you have to sort of, you don't want to, if the suspension comes down, and then now we're haggling again about more or less, and then bringing other cases involved, bringing other cases that have happened into the fold then as well. It just makes to be a sort of messy situation. At the same time, I don't, it should be talked about. Now, once again, I want you to know the facts. There's only the 5 cases that are being talked about here, not the 28 or however many there are now accusations against Deshaun Watson. So there's a lot of stuff at play here, and that goes back to my main point, number 1, which is, man, I just think if you're the NFL, you look at what was recommended and you say, okay, now, and what happens from Watson's point of view, that is still somewhat, I guess, of a wild card here. What happens from his point of view, and but I would think if I were him as well, you'd probably want to just move on as soon as you possibly can. So the Deshaun Watson news, 6 games after all that, I don't know. A lot of times the sort of court of public opinion too, it affects things, and like the tweet said there from Albert Breer, we're going to be, going on and on about this for a long time. What's up, Sauter? What? All right, he's coming back at some point. So if I'm all parties, you want to just move on as quickly as possible. I honestly, and I'm speaking, maybe I'm just trying to sort of speak this into existence a little bit from an NFL fan standpoint. I kind of want to just move on from all of it as well, and not to just throw aside the accusations that are being made here, but you want to, get this sort of out of the talking points of and it's the off season. So once you start football, it'll go away to a certain extent, just like it did last year. But all you can do is, put it through the process, and then whatever it spits out, it spits out. But, it's not the best at all times. Saturday, would you like to come hang out for a couple minutes? Go ahead. I'd put on the headset if I were you there. Welcome. How's other ear? There we go. You got it?
I got it, I think. Wow.
What's up?
I've worn a headset before.
Well, I mean, I think what you're supposed to do is put it on the. You're supposed to put it on the other ear.
I don't like the left though. I'm a right-handed guy, so.
I'm a right-handed guy too. Yeah.
This is incredible radio, gentlemen.
Yes, thank you, Chance.
Right.
Appreciate
Sorry,
it.
Chance the rapper.
What's up?
Not much. I'm good. We're way ahead of schedule out here at Elkhorn High. First of all, thank you for attending and making this happen and work.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone is listening and you're supposed to be here a little bit later, feel free to come anytime. We are very much so ahead of schedule, which my biggest fear was being behind schedule.
All right. So we're working so far.
Who's working?
Who's been here?
So Millard South football is up right now. You had them on, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Ty Wisdom, first year coach. So I think they have a chance to be pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Ashland Greenwood football has been here. We've had Plattsmouth cross country and Plattsmouth volleyball, I believe, and Plattsmouth football. Platteview football has been here. Missing some people. Oh, Elkhorn High, obviously the host. They've had everyone come through.
They're great, by the way.
Yeah,
they've been very good hosts.
Very good hosts.
Yep.
and Bellevue West softball has been here. Omaha North volleyball has been here. Elkhorn North football and volleyball, and I think boys tennis. And Elkhorn North, yep, football. I said Omaha Gross. Actually, Omaha Gross is the team we were talking in there a little bit. I think Omaha Gross is probably, like, if there's a dark horsey class B team, Omaha Gross might just be it. Their feeder program's really good. They've really kind of developed the program, and they might be one to look out for and be a little bit, I think.
We talked about this last week, but this is really cool. First of all, and an opportunity for kids who might not ever get interviewed or whatever to come out and chat and hang out and also talk with other people. It's a big community. I guess what's the feedback that you've gotten from people who were in it? Or I know it's this idea sort of hatched last year, and only a year in now, I think it's grown quite a bit, right?
Yeah, it's grown tremendously. Last year, the idea just kind of popped in my head, I guess. What would that be? 2021, the spring of 21 is when I kind of was like, actually it's the winter of 21. I was like, hey, what if we did like some sort of an idea, travel across the state and just have all of the sports programs do it. I know, other people do it just for football and whatnot. So we wanted to incorporate everybody, and being able to just stream it live as it's happening on my social media is great. We're doing that today. There's also, the Omaha location today. We have 2 tables going. So we'll post kind of the other one later, so parents and whatnot can go back and watch. The biggest thing I think for me was to, one, obviously individually show my face and show that I care about people outside of the metro, which, I live in Omaha. So I don't get out there a ton.
And you love Lincoln, though.
I love Lincoln. I do love Lincoln. I have nothing. I just driving around.
You don't have to say that anymore now.
Driving around Lincoln's hard, though. That's the hard part. But no, I mean, this idea hatched from just, hey, what kind of opportunity can we provide for kids? And then the more you think about it, it's, some kid, I mean, I look back to last winter. I will never kind of forget this. Is the perfect example of why we do this is the opportunity. And there's a gal, I won't say the school, but there's a gal, and she was super nervous. It was her and her coach and an athlete, basketball player, small town, never been interviewed in her life, probably never will. Right. And they ended up like not winning a game the whole year. But like that opportunity right there, that could maybe help her in a job interview someday.
Sure.
Or she'd go through that experience of meeting a stranger. So that's really key. I mean, that one sticks out to me. Just as, okay, like that was pretty cool for that person to go through that. Yes, she was super nervous.
Sure.
But it's pretty cool. Another kind of piece that I'm doing this year and this week is student journalists. Right now, like I'm sitting here talking to you, the 2 tables we have, they're running right now, and they're good. Like they're asking the questions. We have Maddie, who's going to be a freshman at Omaha West Side. She's phenomenal. I mean, very mature. Bridger Cruz from Kennesaw is a student journalist that has done a lot of kind of streaming of games and stuff like that. But there's more to it. The Elkhorn and Elkhorn North kind of Strive teams and student journalists are here running the other table. They set up their equipment. They know how to do everything from sound to all of it. It's all done.
Awesome.
Ready. And I didn't have to give them really any instructions. They just kind of went after it. So incorporating them into it too, 1, allows me to sit in here and talk to you, and 2, it also allows me to do DB, you want to sit down? It allows me to it allows me to do other things, but it gives them, the student journalists, the opportunity as well to maybe someday, like, I mean, you're not going to live to be 150, and you probably don't want to work forever. You're probably not going to want to work forever. I'm not. Benning's not.
I didn't win the lottery, unfortunately.
So there needs to be someone else. Like, and so this is good experiences for everybody else.
Yeah. You went to a football practice this morning.
To Bellevue West football practice this morning, bright and early, 7 a.m. I loved every part of it. Let me tell you, not a morning person.
But it was football practice.
It was fine, and it wasn't too hot. I had pants on, but their coaches are out there in sweat.
Why?
So I'm like,
Why? Why either? Why both?
I felt like I needed pants on today.
You think it was
like
a pants
pants,
day?
Not shorts, is what I mean.
Now I feel
pants,
embarrassed. I wore shorts.
but I just felt like, because it's my event, I need to put a polo on and not, a dry fit tee or something.
I guess so.
So that's why I did that. But no, I went to Bellevue West. Wide receivers look great. Running backs, I think. Gio Contreras probably going to start the year, and then there might be a little surprise there. As another guy no one really has heard of. And then more to come on that. I got to write the practice report for that.
Sure.
And then defensive line is the line's going to be a question for them for sure. And Daniel K-Line knows the ins and outs. I mean, he's Coach Huffman, who calls the plays for them, had to kind of step away, and he just took over. So he definitely knows what he's doing out there. Isaiah McMorris came over from Millard North at receiver. Going to be pretty good. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do. I might actually need to go back out there and get a better look maybe next week.
Well, it's tough on the first day of practice.
Yeah. Well, it's the first official day of practice. They had a week off and then practicing or so.
Right.
Days off.
You're practicing, but it's the first
official one.
First official practice.
Yes. But no, I mean, Bellevue has to be right in the mix. So, and I think the guys you're going to talk to next probably are going to be
I think so.
Squarely in the mix as well.
Yeah, with some more. I think there's probably
Prep, Elkhorn South, Gretna for sure.
Yep.
They might start number 1, I think.
Yeah.
So they're really good. So I think there's about 6 or 7 teams. Millard South, I think, will have a legit shot there too. So
there's a pretty defined top 5.
Yeah, football. Yeah.
As it looks
Class
right
B
now.
is a little open. Class C1 will be good. Pierce will be good again. So those are kind of the 3 at the top, I think.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How about Josiah Dotzler committing to Creighton?
Yeah, Josiah Dotzler committed to Creighton. So a lot of people didn't know he got a Creighton offer. That this all happened on.
I didn't know.
This happened on what you didn't know? Oh, I thought I told you. We talked about it on Friday on the morning show a little bit.
I don't listen to that show.
I had to kind of skirt around. The question because Omaha just offered Josiah and
saw the Omaha one.
And Gary asked me about it, and I was like, well, so I had just talked to him. But anyway, Creighton. He went there on Wednesday for an official visit, not unofficial visit, and obviously loved it and everything, and committed on the spot, which he should have.
Yep.
There's no way he should not have committed on the spot. So if you're Josiah, good fit. He's going to have to work really hard because they have a lot of guards. They have 10. And he told me, obviously it's always been the connection. Brother, played there, was a star there, everything. I mean, he wanted to go to Creighton.
Of course.
It just makes sense. He was a ball boy at Creighton when he was a kid too. So he grew up around the program, literally in the program.
Yeah.
So kind of a dream come true for sure for him. And he was excited when I talked to him and wrote the story for it. I talked to him the other day, and he was very, very excited. His family gets to see him play still. Big family. He's one of 14 kids. He's the second youngest of 14 kids.
14?
Yeah.
Why did I not know?
Ron and 20
14?
Dotzler have 14 children.
I knew that there were.
They go to all the games, man.
I knew that there were a lot of Dotzlers. I did not know that there were 14.
Go to all the games. So it's a good fit for Josiah. I think he his shot's gotten a lot better. He's going to play point guard there. He's going to need to see the floor pass a little more.
Yep.
He's got some things to improve on. He's going to have to work hard, but he's a hard worker. He's quick enough with the ball and can get to the rim and stuff. He needs to actually slow down a little bit.
Yeah. He goes into hyper speed sometimes.
Yeah, it works. I mean, it worked for him in high school. It won't work at the next level.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right, Sider. Well, this is really cool.
All right. I appreciate it. Thanks for being out here.
Of course. Now
I know I asked, but, you could have said no.
I could have.
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm not good at saying no either.
Me either. That's something I need to work on.
All right. That's Mike Sutter. We'll talk to some special guests here from Westside, maybe a coach too.
No, you don't want to talk to that guy. He talks too much anyway.
Next here at 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Did you get a call or message that mentioned Social Security that made you feel threatened or scared? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, press you for personal information, or demand instant payment. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Don't fall for it. Hang up, ignore them. Report this criminal activity to oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Hey friends, Kent Pavelka here, back with John Higgins and the Rooferees at the Weather Guard showroom. A lot of people will, I had some bids here and just got to go with this guy.
We always ask the customer, did you get the referrals on those companies? Do your homework and check how long they've been in business. We try to stay really competitive. Doesn't matter if it's a Da Vinci wood shingle, asphalt shingle, vinyl siding, or hardy siding.
Just go with somebody who has the track record, right?
Right.
There's only one call to make. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Hi, I'm Casey Kane. You would think that as NASCAR's 2004 Rookie of the Year, I get my biggest thrill driving fast. But it's off the racetrack that I get one of life's greatest rewards, helping others through volunteer service. Working with kids is one way that I try to make a difference. The first time I visited chronically ill children in the hospital, I found out just how rewarding volunteering could be. By giving a little of my time, it brightened their day. I was so inspired that I started my own foundation to help sick children and kids without an opportunity to have a better chance at life. Through volunteer service, you learn things about the people you're helping, and you find out a few things about yourself. Volunteering is a rush, just like taking the checkered flag. Go to volunteer.gov to find out what drives you.
This is President George W. Bush. USA Freedom Corps has a volunteer opportunity that's just right for you. Visit volunteer.gov. When you help your neighbor, you help your nation.
Here are your 3 churro shakes. Enjoy your Sonic.
Churro. Let me try. Churro. You got like 800 horsepower of cinnamon, sugar, and caramel. You got to I feel like I'm singing it with 800 R's in it. Churro.
Enjoy the perfect summer treat with the all-new Sonic Churro Shake, sprinkled with sweet cinnamon sugar and swirled with creamy caramel into real vanilla ice cream. All topped off with a crispy, warm churro ready to be dipped and devoured. Try one half price when you order in the app for a limited time only at Sonic. Exclusions apply. See app for details. Limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Nebraska for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
This message is for the guy who isn't perfect in the bedroom. And let's be honest, who is? Maybe the issue is getting it up or keeping it up, or maybe it's finishing too soon. If any of these performance hiccups sound familiar to you, don't sweat it. Hims can help. At 4hims.com, you can go online and get clinically proven prescription medication that treats these issues prescribed for you, if appropriate, by licensed medical providers. And the medication is shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. No one's perfect in the bedroom every time, but with Hims, you can get a lot closer than before. And chances are, your partner will agree.
To get started today, go to 4hims.com/perfect. That's 4hims.com/perfect for your free visit. FORHIMS.com/PERFECT.
All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. We are happy now to be sitting down with a trio of players from Westside High, football players, Kurt Kubrich, Caleb Benning, Anthony Rizak. Gentlemen, Anthony's got the headset because he's the He's the pro. Like these, we're talking about Caleb and Kurt just sharing a mic over here. What was the reasoning why, by the way? Didn't want to mess up the hair. I don't know, man. All right. Well, welcome. How's the off season been, or the off season, quote unquote?
It's been good. It's been really fun. New coach, Coach Lamanji. He wasn't able to be here today because he has a bunch of new stuff at the school, meeting the teachers. But it's been fun. A lot of hard workouts, conditioning, using the football like 7-on-7. It's gone really well. It's been fun, learning ET with them.
You're a baseball guy, right?
Yeah.
You're a basketball guy. You have an off-season sport?
I do track.
It's track in the off-season a little bit. How do you? I mean, this is for any of you guys. How do you manage that stuff during the off-season with trying to get football stuff in? Because all of a sudden August hits and it sneaks up on you. You're playing a game in 3 weeks now, but also you want to be competitive in basketball. You want to be competitive in baseball too. Caleb, what do you think?
Well, for me, I mean, I have basketball and football workouts back to back, so a lot of it is just the communication part with the coaches, making sure like if I'm good to go, I can go. If I'm a little shaky, I can get a little break. But also taking the mental reps, like really being focused when you're not in, that helps a lot.
Yeah, Anthony. Baseball, same thing.
Yeah, big thing for me this summer was naps. I took a lot of naps.
Naps, nice.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the early morning, we're talking. How early are we up?
Like 6. I get up at 6. We'd have football from 6:30 to about 9:30, 10, and then I'd go straight to baseball.
And then you're off to baseball, and then naps.
Yeah, I'd go home, eat, take a nap, and then if I had a baseball game later that day, I'd go there.
How do you guys? And this is for any of you guys, and Kurt, you feel free to hop in here anytime too. As leaders on the team, how do you sort of process what last year was, looking forward to this year, and then even beyond that? I mean, what are you guys thinking? What's the process during the summer here?
It's really just taking it, step by step. We've kind of been, focusing. We're almost setting a standard of excellence around our team. Everything has to be perfect. It's just taking it rep by rep and not trying to be like, oh, we're gonna go win the state championship. It's, hey, let's just win this day. Let's win this day and then move on to the next one, and then that will take us, as far as we can go.
Yeah, you hear a lot of that. I was talking to Millard South, and same thing with Ashland Greenwood. They were saying the same thing earlier. It's day by day, but I mean, you got to lose that at some point. You're thinking about. I don't want to put words into your guys' mouth, but I mean, you guys are one of the favorites in Class A this year, obviously. So at the same time, you think about expectations as well, and getting back to that, goal, ultimately playing in Memorial Stadium again.
Yeah, we know what we want, what we are capable of if we, play how we can. But really, what Kurt's saying, like foot by foot, that's a big thing that we've been talking about this offseason, because we came up, just a little bit short last year. So, every drill, even the warm up, if a dude stops a foot short, we got to redo the whole thing. It's, that's why we're taking it foot by foot.
Caleb, are you stepping into a little bit of a leadership role this offseason?
I am. I've been gone for some camps in basketball, but when I'm there, I try to be vocal along with these two and really lead and bring the energy to the workouts.
Yeah, I mean, it happens pretty quick, right? It's all of a sudden you're getting your feet wet on varsity, and then boom, you're a leader. I guess, what do you guys see from the rest of your team? Whether it's been this offseason or to finish off last year, is there sort of a different feel in the air? I guess what's a couple things that stand out about your guys' team this year?
We have a lot of guys that are unproven, a lot of guys with expectations, and last year I feel like we had a little more experience just with the seniors and Dom and Tommy Conley and Wimmer and those guys. But this year, some guys are stepping into some new roles, so just getting more comfortable day in, day out with those roles.
Anthony, looking over the whole thing, what do you think?
Yeah, kind of just to echo what Caleb said. Like, we got some transfers coming in that are going to play, haven't proven themselves, at least at West Side. So that's going to be a big thing this year. I think everyone's ready for it.
What's Coach Lamanji brought to the table? I guess what's different about whether it's the team or just the coach, the personality, trying to adjust to that? I guess what feels different about that?
I think it was
Kurt?
good because it set everyone feels like they have a new chance to prove themselves. Sometimes, with the same coach, people feel like, oh, this coach doesn't like me. So I think everybody's been working really hard because they think, hey, I have a shot at this because this coach is new and he's looking for people. He knows that he keeps telling us too that every spot is open. Everyone can prove themselves. So it's been good in that way. It's almost like a fresh start for a lot of guys. Maybe that haven't had the best past, but are now saying, hey, I can step into being a new person and working even harder. So I think it's been good in that way.
Does it feel, this what you want to do is sort of continue off of the success that you guys have had over the last couple of years, but bringing new coaches, is it almost like getting him up to speed or a little bit, or is it in the reverse and how he sees things and what his vision is?
I don't think it's as much getting him up to speed because Burke had a similar culture to us. He kind of I think Westside has one of the best cultures in the state. I might be a little biased saying that, but I think we have one of the best cultures. And Coach Lamanji, he instilled a lot of culture at Burke, and what he did is he brought some of his stuff and just blended it with ours, and it mixed perfectly. Like ET, so we've been big on that this summer, effort and toughness. So that fits perfectly right into our culture. So that's been a big part of the brotherhood, this summer.
Caleb, how would you describe your guys' culture and what you guys are trying to do?
It hasn't changed much, but in terms of just our work habits day in, day out, there's a lot of passion, a lot of fire he coaches with, and it kind of rubs off on the players and creates a little competition. We have a lot of weapons at the same spots, so guys are competing for playing time and reps, and him being here, there's just more more fuel to the fire in that.
How do you sort of balance during the summer, trying to be competitive, like you said, but also getting prepared for the season? You're going against each other in practice, but ultimately you're all on the same team. This happens. It can be tough for people in fall camp. This happens for 3-4 straight weeks. By the end of it, you're getting sick of hitting each other and you want to hit somebody else. I guess what's the balance there over the next few weeks here?
Being competitive when we get the opportunity to is a big part. I think we did that. We've had team camp the last 2 weeks, so we've been able to put the pads on, half rack, which we haven't gone full speed, but we've thudded up, and there have been some big hits, a lot of energy, and when we go good on good, dudes, and you want to win. Like no one wants to lose, no one wants to get embarrassed. So that's a big motivation to a lot of dudes.
When I ask you about last year, and not just how it ended, but last year in totality, what comes to your mind first? Any of you guys, what comes to your mind first, and then how do you approach that now heading into this season?
Last year, I think there's a comfort level. We were just kind of good with who we were and what we have been. And obviously the seniors had that bad taste in their mouth from Bell West the year before, but we knew we were favorites, and I can tell we kind of practiced like that. And this year, Coach Lamanji does not allow that at all. Like Anthony said, it's simply not getting to the line all the way. You're doing it again. You have no comfort level whatsoever.
Can it be almost refreshing that Coach Lamanji is coming in now after the end of last year, that he can sort of say, hey, look, this is a new deal. It's a fresh start, even though you guys want to, continue off of what you did a year ago.
Yeah, exactly. He's almost upping the standards. We had high standards, but he's almost just bringing it up, and it's good because we were getting comfortable, and now he's pushing us out of that comfort zone. We were good last year, we were really good, but we can be better, and he's making sure we know that and are pushing for that. So it's been very good.
What are you looking forward to? Anybody? Anthony, I guess you. What are you looking forward to the most this year? Is there one thing? Is there a game? Is there a player that you want to go against? Anything?
There's a few things I'm looking forward to. Prep game week 1 will be super exciting.
It's always fun.
Yeah, last time we played prep week 1, I was not the starter. I didn't play in that game, so I'm ready to have my chance against them. Bell West week 3 should be super fun. It's our home opener, so I'm really excited for that. I think Millard South also later in the season. I think week 8. I think we play them. I'm excited for that game too.
Yeah, I think that's a little later. I've been asking people about this, and you guys play other sports, but knowing people from other schools and how much of a community it feels like it is in Omaha, whether it's growing up with other people on different teams. So you probably know somebody on every team you're playing this year. that's sort of a newer thing, and it's grown over the last couple of years. I guess, how does it make the drive to be more competitive in that situation? I guess, how does that help or change how you approach an individual game?
Yeah, I think it definitely makes it more competitive. Knowing guys you want to win, bragging rights essentially after the game. So yeah, I mean, knowing people on the team motivates you more. I don't know, it probably shouldn't, but everyone.
It always did for me. Like, if I ever knew somebody on the other team, I'm like, yeah, I want to beat this guy. That's basically how I went about it. Caleb, you're shaking your head. You're like, yeah.
I completely agree. I mean, he is right in a sense. You should play the same way no matter who you're playing against. But knowing guys with bragging rights and that opportunity you have, it definitely ups the fire a little bit.
Okay, so speaking of knowing guys, here we are. A couple of the top teams in the state. Bellevue West walks in the room, and you're like, hey, in a couple weeks, this is going to feel a little bit different, I think, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, we'll let you guys go. Those are the West Side Warriors, Kurt Kubridge, Caleb Benning, Anthony Rezak. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Those are the guys from West Side. We will come right back with Bellevue West next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
When you help a child, you never know what that child may someday accomplish. They may someday find a cure for cancer, or start a shelter for the homeless, or write a timeless children's book that inspires generations of other young minds, or simply become good mothers, fathers, teachers, and mentors. At Kiwanis International, our clubs help millions of children worldwide every year through service projects, including college scholarships, Special Olympics, Children's Miracle Network, and thousands of other community-based programs. In fact, Kiwanis-sponsored programs result in over 6.2 million volunteer service hours performed and $107 million distributed annually. But the most satisfying aspect for our members is that we achieve all this one child at a time. Kiwanis International. One can make a difference. But one can make a difference.
25 PGA Tour cards, one champion, so much amazing golf. This year's Pinnacle Bank Championship, presented by Aetna and part of the Korn Ferry Tour, promises 4 days of fierce play as the best of the best chase their coveted PGA Tour cards and the championship trophy. Don't miss it, August 8th through 14th at the Club at Indian Creek. Buy your tickets now at thepinnaclebankchampionship.com/tickets. That's thepinnaclebankchampionship.com/tickets.
Think about this. There are 5 freedoms guaranteed in the First Amendment. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to peacefully assemble, freedom to petition the government. Which freedom can you live without? Fortunately, the First Amendment doesn't make you choose. It protects all 5 freedoms equally. Think first. Go to thinkfirstamendment.org to learn more. This message is sponsored and aired by Media of Nebraska and this station.
1620 The Zone, live and local, broadcasting 6A to 6P in the Host Coffee Zone studio. Host Coffee, offering office break room refreshment services to Omaha and Lincoln metro area businesses. Discover a better break room solution for your office at sales@hostcoffee.net.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action? Did the caller know your Social Security number or other personal information and tell you that your Social Security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your Social Security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment, email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Progressive Snapshot can save you money based on how you drive and how much you drive. So the safer you drive, the more money you could save. Now, if you didn't hear that because you were laying on the horn while driving, let me say it again. Are you a race car driver? Because if you are, you're in the wrong car and you took a wrong turn off the track a while ago. And all those cars you're trying to pass all save money with Progressive Snapshot, while you probably don't. So who's really winning? And if you did hear it the first time, nice work. You'd love Snapshot from Progressive because it rewards safe drivers. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California and North Carolina or from all agents.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
5X480. Dayton B100 V-Belt, one of the many parts Grainger carries. It's also the item that helped Rob carry the day. The job was on hold. Deadline fast approaching, but a quick search on Grainger.com and Rob found his part. And with same-day pickup at his local branch, he and his crew got the job done safely and on time. Get supplies and solutions for every industry with real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. We are at Media Days, high school Media Days. So we just ended the interview with Westside. Bellevue West comes walking in. We got the guys from Bellevue West here. And coincidentally, we were talking about how sort of everybody knows everybody. And, you know, it's friendly because it's August 1st, and you guys just started practice today. In a couple weeks, it'll be a little bit different. We welcome in the guys from Westside. Coach Mike Huffman's in the back. We can hear him from all the way across the room, so that's fine. Daniel Kalen, Kyrell Jordan, Alex Nichols with us. Gentlemen, welcome. So you started practice today.
Yeah, we did. We're lucky enough to have a week 0. So, you know, regardless of what I'm supposed to say as a coach, the weight room gets old after a while. Man. We got to get out there and play some football and got to sling it around a little bit. Instead in Nebraska, got to do the first 2 days with just helmets. So we were able to slow it down some and get back to teaching some intricacies. But we got to play harder. We got to play harder, and that's one of the best things about opening up with Creighton Prep. And if you don't go out and play hard against Creighton Prep, it's going to be a long night. So I know the boys will get juiced up, ready to go.
You guys have some pretty good energy coming off of a morning practice today. It's got to feel good to start actually, and you're not fully hitting each other yet, but it's got to feel good to actually start, you know, playing organized football to start things off.
Off season is honestly so long that when it gets time to get season, like it's almost season time, everybody's ready and everybody's hyped up, and we got a lot of competition this year. But I feel like with the squad that we have, we're ready to go.
So now here's what happens. Now the wait really starts. you got 3-4 weeks until you play a game. I guess 3 weeks on Friday, right? Until you play a game. Now the wait really starts. You're going to want to start hitting somebody else by the end of it. Let's go back to last year. This is for any of you guys. What do you think of when you think about whether it's last year as a whole or the end of it, and how do you sort of carry that into what you guys want to do here in 2022? Daniel?
I feel like just starting.
Yeah, go ahead, get closer.
Yeah, I feel like to start the off season, we use like the way the season finished, kind of as something as motivation, because like Huffman says all the time, like only losing 2 games, making it to the semifinals for a lot of teams is a successful year. But for the standard that we hold ourselves to and the potential that we thought we had, it wasn't the way we wanted to finish last year. So I feel like we just use it more as motivation, carrying over to this season in the weight room, just being more intense in the weight room, and just put in as much effort and work that we can put into this season so that we can maximize our potential for this season.
Kyrell?
Yeah, I feel like
good call.
Yeah, with the team that we had last year, like Mike O'Reilly, Caden Helms, LJ, a bunch of guys on defense, like we definitely thought, and even after we lost to Millard South, we were like, we're good, like we'll make it, and we'll go and win the state championship and everything like that. It didn't turn out that way, but honestly, I feel like that helped some of the younger players on the team because they felt like it was just gonna get handed to us, like it was just gonna come, and I feel like it's just like more weight on our shoulders now. Now that like we're the older guys, and we got to go out there and help them. But we also got to make sure that our young guys don't have the mindset that we had, that it's just going to come. Like, we're going to have to work for it. It's not going to be pretty the entire way, but if we can get through that, that's when the great teams do, and that's when they end up in Lincoln.
Alex, how do you feel stepping into sort of a leadership role this year?
Oh, like Kyrell said, we lost a lot of people, and we thought we were going to go all the way with that team. It's like losing all those people. We know we got to work harder if we even want to be able to make it there. So
when you think of a couple things that you guys, whether it's personally, what are you looking forward to this year the most? Is it, do you fast forward all the way to the end, or do you obviously, the coach behind you, he's going to say we're going to take it one day at a time, 1 week at a time. It's got to be difficult to do that. When you think about this year, what do you think about first?
I know we definitely have a lot of big games, but I mean, the cliche, one game at a time.
One game at a
really
time.
Just trying to focus on week 0 right now. But I think what I'm personally looking forward to this season is finally being the starter. I rotated for the first couple of games last year. And Luke ended up taking over. So it's just going to be a bit of a pretty big different role for me, being the full-time starter, being the guy that my team has to rely on. So I think that's what adds more excitement to this season for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep you there for a second. I mean, how much of an adjustment is that for you? It's got to be positive. That way you sort of feel ownership of it, the confidence of it. I guess what's been different about this offseason, whether it's in the way you prepare, the way you talk to your team, I guess how has that gone for you so far?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is just like the leadership role, because it's kind of different when you have like 2 quarterbacks like that are rotating and
Sure.
stuff like that. I feel like being the guy, it allows me to be a little bit more comfortable being vocal with the team and being more of a leader. So I think that's the biggest adjustment for this year.
Let me hit on a little bit 2 different things, Connor.
1 second, Coach. We're getting a little feedback here. Nick, you want to undo whatever you just did? There we go. Coach, go ahead.
And we were talking about, taking the 1 game at a time and things like that. But what the NSAA gave us an absolutely beautiful schedule. Some people would complain about it, but we are so excited and giddy. So, yeah, 1 game at a time. But we open with Prep, who's going to be one of the top, preseason 1 or 2 teams. And then we play Omaha North, who's perennially one of the strongest teams with the semifinals last year. Then we play Burke High School, where one of our former coaches is the head coach.
Yeah.
And then that week 3, but our game 4 is Westside. And then a couple games off when we play Gretna, the defending state champ. So, you really do have to take it 1 at a time. But at the same time, if something doesn't go well, in September, it's not the end of the world. And so we need to learn. We have a lot of new players. And then referring to Daniel, I learned 2 or 3 years ago that if you've got a couple good quarterbacks, you have to use them, because otherwise you're like hamstringing them for the future. And Daniel, you said a couple games. It was like 4 or 5 games, and you had a ton of snaps. And so his comfort level going in there against quality football teams is going to be high. The lights are not going to be too bright. And you got dudes like Kyrell. We got Isaiah McMorris. You got Ben Goodwater, Echternack. By the way, Davon Hall's not too shabby either. Those are the guys and that they got to get it to. And then I look across when we're playing against ourselves, and we have 4 linebackers that are all seniors that all look like Tarzan, so they got to come up and hit. And our secondary is long and fast. We've got a lot of pieces, but, I talk about it often. Football is the worst in time investment of all the sport. You work and work and work, and at max, someone's getting to play 13 games.
Yeah.
We just want to do everything we can to make sure we're playing 13 this year. Once you get to the Final Four, man, anything that can happen, because the other team, they have good players too. So our guys are well aware, and we just got to do the little things to get us over the hump.
Kyrell, how do you – I mean, you guys talked about it a little bit before, but with all of the guys that you lost from last year and those guys, growing up and moving on now, stepping into a leadership role, but you're still WS. You still have the target on your back. I guess how do you go in with that mindset, knowing that you're going to get everybody's best shot?
I like it because I want everybody's best shot. Like last year, we probably had 2 real big games, maybe 3 with Kearney or something. But Millard South, that was the game. And I mean, yeah, we lost, but you just gotta love it. The environment is crazy, the fans are crazy, student sections are super toxic, but that's just that's what high school football is about. So I'm just really gonna try to enjoy it my senior year. We want to win every game, obviously, but just take it 1 game at a time, basically. Prep, that's really all I'm worried about right now. Later in the season we can get into that, but prep is on my mind right now, but I know it's going to be probably the biggest game this year, so I'm ready for it. And last year we had Caden and Micah, so you got some guys on your team. So like big games come, all the eyes are on them.
Yeah.
And now that they're gone, we have me, Isaiah, Davon, Ben Goodwater. Like all eyes are on us now, and I like that feeling, honestly. Like I feel like I might have used to been like a little bit nervous or like a little bit scared. Nah, like this year, like I'm just ready to have fun and go out and ball.
Yeah, it comes with getting older, I guess. You move on and you move up. And like I said, you still got the Bellevue West, across your chest, so you're going to get everybody's best shot. And we were talking about it a little bit at the beginning, and Coach, maybe you could chime in on this too if you want, but like, everybody sort of knows each other, at least more so than before. I think you could probably speak to that, and anybody could. But, knowing them and then wanting to beat them as well, those are two different things. And then the teams that you're playing probably better too. You mentioned it gets toxic in the student sections, right? Everybody sort of knows each other. Like there's a familiarity there, but I think it probably makes it more competitive too, right?
I tell you what, it makes it really fun. So I've known Caleb Benning since he was a child,
right?
And so I grew up with Damon, and with the way they do youth basketball now, a lot of the kids play youth baseball. You got Warren Academy, you got any Elite. You got all these different places where the kids get together in the offseason, so they know each other, and it is fun. And I'll be 100% honest. When I know a kid as well, like I remember the West Side game. I went up before the game. I give Caleb Nux, but then you don't think about it again until after the game is over. Because man, once that toe hits the leather, the lights are bright. That's all you're thinking about. Because if you're thinking about other things, you're going to get beat that night, especially when you're playing the Preps, the West Sides, the Norths, the Gretnas, the Carneys. Those schools, they'll punch you back in the mouth. And although we do have the Bellevue West across the chest, and we joke around that we like the view from up here, everybody's trying to knock us down. But again, that's why you choose to go to Bellevue West. You want that because we are going to sling it around. We're going to run the ball. We're going to get big hits on defense because that's what we want. And I'm proud of the boys, and we can't wait to see what they can do.
Daniel, how do you manage the recruiting part of it as well? And there's also that side of it. All you guys have it, the recruiting side of it, and also trying to win football games, for the team you play for right now.
Yeah, I would say there was an open period this last weekend, so I went to a couple places, but all of July and really from this point on, that's really barely even my focus. I'll talk to coaches every once in a while, and then we have a bye week, so I could go somewhere then. But my 100% focus is on this football season and on this team because that's my number one focus right now, and I could worry about recruiting after the season and stuff like that with, like, committing and stuff. But my number one goal right now is to play 13 games and be in Memorial this season, so that's where my focus is at.
Do you guys all play other sports? Yeah. So what's a summer look like? We were just talking to the West Side guys about this. I mean, summer you wake up, and you might have football lifting right away, and then you go to baseball or whatever else it is in the afternoon and then come back. Naps are a thing, obviously a lot more, I would think, during the summer. I guess what's a normal summer day look like before we turn our attention here to full-time football?
Honestly, it's just like, I work too. So like wake up, you go to football practice at 7 a.m, but you're not thinking like it's football. Like you're just excited because you get to play football. And then, you might go work out at a couple places later in the day. So, you're going to get tired. But honestly, I feel like that's what everybody loves is, like, the work. Like, you're not going to like it when you're sore, but you're going to feel better after when you get stronger. Like, I feel like we like it. Like, it's not a big problem dealing with a lot of sports or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, football, it doesn't last forever. And neither does really any sport. So you have to love it while you do it because the hard times are hard, but the great times are probably some of the best times of your life.
I'd say it's a positive, Coach. Right?
Yeah, well, there's some things that we do, I think, uniquely at Bellevue West that I think has really helped all of our programs. So like we lift early in the morning. Our boys come in at 7 o'clock, and we actually, our skilled kids, meaning receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, DBs, at some years linebackers, some years they go with the linemen, but we lift with the basketball team. So Coach Woodard's in there with all his guys because I think it's absolutely ridiculous that some of these coaches make kids choose which weightlifting sessions they're going to.
It's cool.
They're worried about making a coach mad. No, we don't have to worry about that at Bellevue West. And then our wrestlers work out with our linemen. And I know some skill kids wrestle, but for the most part, at least at our school, that's kind of the way that goes. And we get done early in the morning. So that way our baseball players can go do their thing. Our basketball players, they can go do all their AAU stuff and their team stuff. Most of these guys run track. So, half the track staff is on our football staff anyway. So it's just more of a continuation of what we do. But I think that's super important is that you have to do things to make the choice easy for the kid, not harder for the kid. And it's obviously a recipe that's worked out pretty well for us.
Yeah, you're not working against the other sports in your school. You're working together. You'll have Bellevue West across your chest there. Well, 2 weeks, guys, right? just 2 weeks. It'll be Bellevue West and prep on the 19th of August. It's football month. So guys, we appreciate you stopping by. It was a lot of fun. Good luck. And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Those are the guys from Bellevue West, Coach Mike Huffman and Daniel Kalin, Kyril Jordan, Alex Nichols. Appreciate them stopping by here at Media Days. We will come back. We'll talk some Oklahoma football with Tyler McComas on 1620 The Zone.
Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Hot and steamy this afternoon with a high in Omaha near 95 degrees, but feeling closer to 100. Heading into tonight, temperatures stay pretty warm into the mid-70s with mostly clear skies, and we will see a chance for a stray thunderstorm early this evening. Hot Tuesday with a heat advisory out for all of eastern Nebraska and western Iowa from 1 until 8 p.m., feeling like 100 to 110 degrees. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Car repair is car repair. Most places you go can change your oil or fix your brakes. The difference is the experience you'll get at Omaha Car Care. We're part of the community. We were born here, and we believe that our relationship with you should be built to last. We're going to consult you, not sell you. We're going to give you a free loaner car. We're going to treat you like a valued friend that we want to continue to see in the years to come. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. If you have played golf this summer and you haven't been that happy with your game, Mike Faber, their director of instruction, he can help you out. Give Miracle Hill Golf a call today at 402-498-0220. Book lessons or book a round of golf, whether it's a quick 9 after work, a full 18 on the weekend, the Top Tracer building, you can get your golf game right. 402-498-0220, Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
The Ford truck lineup is purpose-built from the ground up, designed to be tough and productive. Crafted with high-strength, military-grade aluminum alloy body and torture-tested high-strength steel frame with new tech to help you work smart and hard. The F-150, Ranger, and Maverick are built tough and ready to tackle whatever lies ahead. Hit the road in confidence and learn more about Ford trucks in-store or online anytime at WoodhouseFord.com, your trusted truck dealer since 1975. Woodhouse Ford.
25 PGA Tour cards, 1 champion, unlimited action. Don't miss this year's Pinnacle Bank Championship, presented by Aetna and part of the Corn Ferry Tour, August 8th through the 14th at the Club at Indian Creek. Visit thepinnaclebankchampionship.com/tickets.
The biannual blowout is just a week away, and we've got a lot of work to do.
Keenan's Rug Emporium is rolling out a Labor Day bonanza.
We have that flatweed shipment coming in.
He needs 10 new sales associates as the crowds loom large.
Someone run a stock check on all the Moroccan 8x10s?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Progressive Snapshot can save you money based on how you drive and how much you drive. So the safer you drive, the more money you could save. Now, if you didn't hear that because you were laying on the horn while driving, let me say it again. Are you a race car driver? Because if you are, you're in the wrong car and you took a wrong turn off the track a while ago. And all those cars you're trying to pass all save money with Progressive Snapshot, while you probably don't. So who's really winning? And if you did hear it the first time, nice work. You'd love Snapshot from Progressive because it rewards safe drivers. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California and North Carolina or from all agents.
What's up? It's Nick. Unsportsmanlike conduct is going to be on the road this Friday at Warner Park right before the Omaha Storm Chasers host the St. Paul Saints. The Chasers are an exciting team and they're full of future Major League stars. So join John, Josh, and myself this Friday at Warner Park on 1620 The Zone.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
All right, Connor Happer back with you here. It is media day for high schools around the metro. We appreciate all that have stopped by so far. Bellevue West, West Side, Millard South, the heavy hitters, Ashland Greenwood in Class C1. We're moving in and out of some things today. We will talk some Husker football as we go on throughout the show. They had an open session, an open part of their practice today. But let's talk some Oklahoma football as we make our way through Nebraska's schedule. And this may be our final one. We saved the best for last. Tyler McComas joins us. He is from 94.7 The Ref in Oklahoma City. Tyler, hello. How are you?
I'm great. Looking forward to the actual possibility of finally getting to meet my friend Connor Happer in person coming up next month.
I know. I really did appreciate the videos from last year of the Nebraska, because I didn't get to Norman last year, but the videos of the Nebraska people who came up to you and said that they had heard my show. They to be fair, they did not seem to be in the best shape of mind at that point. So who knows what they were really thinking or who they were actually thinking they were talking to. But that was a good entry into it.
Yeah, no, it was awesome, man. All the Nebraska fans that showed up in Norman last year ended up being a great game. And I think I told you this before, Connor, but I've said it a couple times on my show. I feel like this is going to be one of the most well-attended road games by OU fans that maybe we've ever seen, just because there's so many OU fans that haven't had the opportunity to go to Lincoln. It's a really big game for both programs. Man, there's going to be a ton of Sooner fans in Lincoln and in Omaha as well. You can't even find a hotel room in Lincoln for that weekend as of right now.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I know this was sort of bubbling up a couple of weeks ago, but the whole ticket allotment thing that Nebraska was allowing Oklahoma fans to buy, I would imagine that Nebraska is doing their best to keep Oklahoma fans out of the stadium. Like I said, though, I wouldn't be, like you said, I don't think that I would be surprised if some Oklahoma fans made their way in. It's sort of, we're talking about it boils down to like a price, I guess, on the secondary market at that point in time. So we're really talking about like, hey, this is a bucket list thing. We get to go watch, an Oklahoma-Nebraska game in Memorial Stadium for the first time in 10 years or more at this point. Like, I would imagine that Oklahoma fans are going to do their best there.
Yeah, there were some upset fans about the whole ticket allotment. But a couple of weeks ago, actually, someone texted into our show and said, hey, guys, by the way, just went on Huskers.com, and I was able to buy some tickets for $150 a piece, to which I, announced it to Sooner Nation, basically, and we had a ton of people go on Huskers.com and buy those single-game tickets. So I don't know exactly how many OU fans bought them, but it feels like there was some single game tickets available there, and I feel like quite a bit of OU fans bought some up. So yeah, there will be a good collection of fans, no doubt. It's a drivable game for sure. It's just whether people even show up to the game. I just think that there might be a ton of OU fans in Lincoln that day, even if they're not going inside the football game.
For sure, no doubt about it. All right, Tyler, let's talk some football. It's been, I know the last time we talked, a few weeks, maybe months ago now, hard to tell. I don't know. Time passes weirdly during the summer. What is the vibe right now as we get closer and closer to football, and we're transitioning over from everything is, peaches and roses season. It's a new coach, recruiting is going well, but carrying that momentum now into the fall, and you actually have to play football games. I guess the vibes seem good, even though maybe some of the national media is sort of down on Oklahoma. How do you see it right now?
I feel like it's as optimistic around here as I've seen it in quite some time. And hey, look, there were a lot of people nationally picking this program to win a national championship last year. And even with that, there were a whole lot of nerves and, we're just going to get to the big stage and we're just going to fail again. So even with those high expectations, there was a lot of nerves around here, but people around here feel pretty good. And I think that everyone nationally that's been trashing this team, it's really created maybe a tighter bond between the fan base and this team than we've seen previously, because it feels like everyone outside the state is, really down on them, really doubting them and saying, well, how can OU be a 10-win football team this year? They lost their entire roster to the transfer portal. That's not really the case. Did they lose some players to the portal? Absolutely. Caleb Williams is gone. We know that. Mario Williams is gone at USC as well. You had Hazelwood go to Arkansas. They did lose some players via the portal. They also got some good players via the portal as well, including your starting quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, who, might be one of the more established quarterbacks that we see across the country this year, just in terms of what he's done with his resume. So I think people are confident that the defense is going to be better this year. It's not going to be hard to be better defensively than what you've been recently. But my thought is, if nothing else, they're just going to be better fundamentally. Well, what does that mean? Well, I think that they're going to tackle better. And OU hasn't tackled at an elite level for a long time. If they just tackle better, the defensive numbers are going to look significantly better than they have over the past 5 years. I think this offensive line is going to be better than what it's been recently. So just take those two things into account. And I think that there's a real scenario. I honestly think it's the expectation that OU will be a better football team than it was last year. So long answer, but there's a ton of optimism around here about what this team can be this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You get a new coach, and that's still somewhat of a wild card. And I don't want to get into that in a second, but the talent doesn't change that dramatically over one offseason. So whatever the new coach has done and will do, and whatever Oklahoma becomes in 3 or 4 years, and especially as they transition over into the SEC, I mean, this is still, I don't know. I feel like people are making it out to be, maybe the drop is a little bit overblown right now, considering this is a really, really talented team, especially in the context of their conference. And would you agree with that? I mean, things don't change, I don't think, that dramatically over one offseason. They brought in guys too.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And, there's a real thought around here. And Connor, maybe we're all proven to be wrong about this, but there's a real thought that this coaching staff is significantly better than the previous coaching staff. Now, Nebraska fans or other college football fans may say, whoa. Brent Venables has never been a head coach before. He's never been a head coach before. That is correct. But he's been at 3 different universities. He was at Kansas State, and that's kind of during the heyday of Bill Snyder. Brent Venables was at K-State when they're having their best teams in Manhattan. He was at Oklahoma, and quickly they got back to the top. OU had some of its best teams when Brent Venables was there. And then obviously Clemson, that's true, right? Clemson had its best run in program history while Brent Venables was there. So no, he wasn't the head coach of any of those programs. But there's got to be some sort of a coincidence that those 3 programs had incredible runs. Like the level of consistency that he's had defensively and at the programs that he's been under, that does have to say something about him. But I know nationally people would say, well, Lincoln Riley, I mean, come on, he's the it guy when it comes to offense in college football. And that's true. But if you really kind of monitor the situation around here, culture is where they really lack. And the culture was really, to be frank, it wasn't very good at all, especially, in the last days of the Lincoln Riley tenure. So there's a real thought here that this coaching staff can be better, significantly better than the coaching staff last year. And that could make a major difference in year one.
What should we expect offensively? This is a program that's been known for just that over the last couple of years. Now a defensive-minded head coach should pay dividends on that side of the ball. The question is sort of how soon. But what does an Oklahoma offense look like under Brent Venables and Jeff Lebby?
Very fast. That's going to kind of be their MO. And I definitely think that that's something that you're going to see in the Nebraska game in week 3 is, maybe go back to 2008. If fans out there remember that 2008 OU offense and how fast they were going, they're going to go up tempo like that. They're going to run the ball too, though. So don't expect OU to come to Lincoln and just go 5 wide the entire game. And you're going to see Dylan Gabriel have, 55 attempts. That's not going to be the case. If you go back and look at what Jeff Lebby did at Ole Miss, they ran the football a ton. They were truly a run-first offense. And by the way, Jeff Lebby was out there calling the plays, not Lane Kiffin. That was Jeff Lebby's offense out there. So you're going to see an offense that goes really, really fast, really, really up-tempo, but one that really wants to run the football quite a bit. You're going to see OU run a ton of plays this year.
When you look at the rest of the Big 12, I guess, how do you sort of, when looking at the top contenders for the conference this year, who is it? Who will be involved? Obviously, Oklahoma and Texas are in a weird spot after the SEC in a couple years. I guess, what do you see when you look at the rest of the Big 12 at the moment?
Hard not to really like Baylor just because they play a really physical brand of football, man. Baylor, they turn out some dudes on the defensive side of the ball. Now, Gary Bohannon transferred out, and they got Blake Shapen as their starting quarterback, who was great in the Big 12 championship game last year against Oklahoma State. Blake Shapen gives Baylor more of an opportunity to throw the ball down the field. And if they can do that consistently, Baylor's going to be really, really tough this year. So I like OU and Baylor to play in the Big 12 championship this year. But you know who my dark horse is in the conference? Wait for it. I think Adrian Martinez and Kansas State I think they're going to be a good football team. They got the preseason Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. They've got Deuce Vaughn, one of the better running backs in the country. And he just seems tailor-made for the offense that they've ran there for so long, to where everything goes through the quarterback. They want to run the quarterback a bunch. Obviously, they're going to ask some things out of him in the passing game. If he can stay healthy, and I know how Nebraska fans feel about him. I understand that. But in this system, I think it could really fit him well. And Kansas State is a team that I'm looking at. And as we get closer to the season, Connor, honestly, I'm getting closer and closer to thinking that Kansas State could play for a Big 12 championship this year.
So that game on Oklahoma's schedule takes place the week after Oklahoma's trip to Nebraska. So it's Nebraska on September 17th and Kansas State at home on September 24th. Is that that's about as big of a 2-game stretch, especially early, where Oklahoma's been, they've been caught occasionally over the last couple of years. That feels like a really big moment, those 2 weeks in late September.
Yeah. At Nebraska, Kansas State at home, at TCU, and then you play Texas. Texas was a 5-7 team last year. But if you've been paying attention to that rivalry, whatever the best version of Texas is, you see it in the Cotton Bowl. And it's really annoying that, you always have the toughest time beating Texas, and they end up being a 5-7 football team. But yeah, man, it's a really tough stretch to open up the year for a football team with the first-year coaching staff. Every OU fan has got that Nebraska game zeroed in, but that Kansas State game, not only do I think it's going to be tough, it's at a very interesting kind of part of the schedule like you're talking about. And I don't feel like anyone in the past decade has had more success in Norman than Kansas State's had. They won here in 2012. They won here in 2014. And actually won here the last time they were here. OU blew 2 21-point leads. Now, I know how you guys feel about the fourth quarter leads thing. I don't know if Nebraska's ever blew 2 21-point leads in the second half. So Kansas State's won 3 times here in the past decade. Yeah, man, that's underrated, one of the toughest games of the year.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. What an interesting little moment there for Oklahoma. I always ask this too, and we may have talked about this last time you joined. Tyler McComas, Sports Talk out of Oklahoma City is with us, 94.7 The Ref in Oklahoma City, talking some OU football. So what is the both the fan base view on Nebraska, and if it's been talked about at all, the team view on Nebraska and how important that game is? It's really being built up here, Nebraska, but it's hard to focus on too much because Nebraska has some games that they maybe should win before that, but haven't consistently won enough over the last couple of years. For OU, it should be a cakewalk to 2-0 with UTEP and Kent State starting off, and then you really get going with Nebraska. It was a closer game than expected last year. The line is maybe tighter than some might have expected on the early lines for these college football games. Nebraska and Oklahoma, I think, in the 5-point range right now. I guess what is the thought worldly on Nebraska from the Oklahoma standpoint?
Well, if you look at last year's schedule, I don't think that there was a quarterback that played as well against OU as Casey Thompson did. I think he had 5 touchdown passes against OU last year, and I don't think that he had any turnovers either in that game. So I think the thought is there's a lot of respect for Casey Thompson. Obviously, you know, his dad and his brother both played at OU. There's a lot of familiarity with him. That Nebraska is going to have a better chance of maybe to throw the ball down the field, which I think that's Casey Thompson's strong suit, is his ability to throw the deep ball and stretch the ball down the field. Now, in terms of who's going to be a playmaker for Nebraska, who's their electric guy on the outside, that I don't know. I mean, you would have to be the one to tell me that. But I just think that you look at last year, you look at how last year's game was, and we're all just factoring in that Nebraska's probably going to have a pretty good defense. OU's going to be able to score some points, but one thinks that they're going to roll up there and score 38 or anything like that. It's just that Nebraska plays a brand of football that they know how to keep the game close. And I think that we saw that last year, right? The big thing to me about last year's game was, you know, OU wanted to go fast. They wanted to use their athleticism. And I thought, really, from Nebraska's first offensive possession, they controlled the tempo and they controlled the pace. Yeah. So I even though OU wants to go fast, I feel like there's a thought that Nebraska, just by being able to throw the ball down the field more consistently, maybe even a tougher challenge offensively than what they were last year. I don't know if that's accurate or not, or what you think, but that's the thought here.
Well, I'll just go off of that a little bit. It's so interesting, this game, because you can include all the things from last year and yes, the fact that it's Oklahoma and Nebraska too, and people are going to be excited for this game. But then you add in all of these question marks because of all the things that changed over the offseason, not only for Oklahoma, but for Nebraska as well. Oklahoma, you know, they have a head coach change and the upheaval and change at quarterback, obviously, and they're sort of, you know, a wild card of what exactly it's going to look like, even though you gave us a good rundown. I mean, if you ask me the same question of what's the Nebraska offense going to look like this year, I don't know that I would be able to define it as well as you did for Oklahoma's. They changed their entire offensive coaching staff. They brought in a new offensive coordinator and Mark Whipple from Pitt. They have a new quarterback and he's from Texas. And it's sort of, you know, curious to see how that'll fit. There's just, it was so much fun last year, and it was closer than everybody expected. And then everything almost got wiped away during the offseason. Like, I don't know, Tyler. Like, it's a weird, almost, I could see it being a toss-up. I could also see it being, you know, 10 points either way. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I'll add to that. The overwhelming thought here is, and we've talked about this a ton this offseason, it's okay. You look at the record and you say, all right, Nebraska's 3-9. That doesn't necessarily tell the story. I mean, a couple bounces go their way. I mean, you know it. You're a 5-6 win team last year. But our thought is, whatever the best version of Nebraska is this year, whatever that looks like and whatever that means, you're going to see it week 3 in Lincoln against OU. There's just it feels here, there's so much at stake for that coaching staff and that program in week 3. They're going to play their best football that night. It almost feels that if Nebraska were to win that game and they win the 3 previous games before that and start 4-0, man, there's some real optimism, and then they could get rolling a little bit. But it almost feels, too, if that game doesn't go the right way for them, maybe that could impact the next several weeks on the schedule. It's just the way that we're viewing it, with Scott Frost seemingly being on the hot seat and everything that's gone on up there, you're going to get Nebraska's best shot. They're going to throw their best punch at you because that game means so much they for the rest of their season after week 3.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it. You got to win the first 3. But if they are 3-0 going into that game, it sets up to be a monstrous Saturday in Lincoln. Tyler, I'm sure we'll talk again before you make your way up here. We're looking forward to it. Thanks for the update, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, you bet, man. Anytime.
Tyler McComas. That is a good little update there from the state of Oklahoma, 94.7 The Ref in OKC. Woo! Yeah. I mean, that's the main sort of thought on the game, right? I mean, you can go back, look at what it was last year. In my opinion, and you guys can call in, text in about this. We could talk about this for a little while if you'd like. I mean, how last year's game went was, I think, a win in totality for Nebraska fans. I think Nebraska was a 21 or 22 point underdog. I got the sheet somewhere in here in the old spreadsheets, but They were a 21, 22-point underdog. They end up competing, have a chance to win the game late, don't end up doing so. But I think the way you walked away from it was, all right, we're rolling. It was only 23-16. And the thought was they're going to be able to capitalize off this going forward. They didn't. They blew the lead at Michigan State the next week. And then, we were off and rolling in the season of pain. But last year became really messy for Oklahoma. And they made a change at the quarterback position, and they made a change at the head coaching spot. So how much of what it was last year for Oklahoma do you wipe away? On Nebraska's side, last year was really messy. Offensive staff gets changed out. You have a change in quarterback, but you take last year's game and you like some of the pieces of it, and let's improve. But my question for both teams, we've been talking about it for Nebraska all summer, but my question for both teams is, how much do you take from last year? How much does it actually matter going into 2022? And how do you set that up for both of their seasons? And then a game that I think right now is sort of a total wild card. So that's and from talking to Tyler there, I certainly am not moving off of that opinion right now. So we will. I mean, that's a big one, obviously, for both sides. It is interesting with Oklahoma how they have K-State the very next week at home, and so they get Nebraska one week and they get Adrian Martinez the very next week. So good stuff there, and we'll have plenty to touch on with that as we go on throughout the show. We have updates from Nebraska's practice, which we will get into. I do have the odd news still. We sort of have been moving around throughout this entire show. I brought up some news stories, so we're not going to let that go to waste. Nick is back in studio. He can chime in whenever he feels necessary. I know he has some really bad jokes that are in the old chamber there. So, whenever he wants to jump in, that's cool too.
They come that you can't force them, they just come.
Exactly. So the odd news is a perfect opportunity for you to get in those bad jokes, and we'll do that next here on 1620 The Zone.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Psst, come here. I got a secret weapon that'll make your family happy. Real happy.
It's my new caramel toffee cookie combo. My big chocolate chip cookie covered with caramel and toffee bits. Add any medium specialty pizza piled high with the best toppings and loads of mozzarella on top. Plus any medium one-topping pizza. Caramel toffee cookie combo.
Order now.
Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Before you know it, Husker football season is going to be here, and you want to be in Memorial Stadium or following the Big Red on the road. And while you look for tickets, look no further than ticketsforless.com. Formerly Ticket Express, they are your home for the best selection of Husker tickets inside of Memorial Stadium. And the best part, you'll never pay those outrageous fees like you do at other sites. Just compare. And you want to follow the Big Red on the road? Tickets for Less has you covered there, too. Find the best seats at the best prices to all your favorite Nebraska events, all in one convenient location. Ticketsforless.com. That's ticketsforless.com. Get in the stadium.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's credit cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.3% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Summer is over. It's time to settle into your back-to-school routine. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. As teachers, we're excited to see our students again. Parents, help your child. Set a time and a quiet place for homework and establish bedtime routines so your child will be rested and ready to learn. Help us make a bright new beginning for our students this year.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
All right, Connor Happer back with you here. We are at Elkhorn High School today. May still get in touch with a couple players and coaches from our local area high schools as they get ready for their seasons today. First day of practice for some. Some will have to wait another week before we get going. But thanks to Mike Sauter for having us out here, and we're happy to continue to tell the story. High school football starting off soon. Like I said, some of those teams, including the folks that we talked to at Bellevue West, started practice today, August 1st. By the way, don't get excited for that full breakdown preview with Alan Bell tomorrow. All right, we have the odd news, which we've been sitting on for a while. Nick is back in studio. I have the stories.
Hello. Okay.
Hey, Nick. All right, are you ready for these?
Sure.
All right. This is from NPR. Sharks mistaking feet for fish are likely behind Long Island attacks.
Do the sharks? How does the shark see a foot and be like, "Yeah, that's a fish"? Like,
I don't know.
They've been
Sharks
doing this
are dumb
for a while.
It turns out that sharks don't actually want to kill you. They're just idiots. A series of 5 shark attacks in 2 weeks on Long Island probably has many beachgoers in the Northeast hesitant to wade into the water. But the sharks aren't targeting humans. They're after fish. A sand tiger shark nursery located off of Long Island has an abundance of bait fish close to shore and could explain the recent string of unwanted encounters, according to Florida Program for Shark Research Program Director Gavin Naylor. The sand tiger shark is one of the more menacing-looking creatures lurking beneath the ocean's surface. It can grow up to 10 feet in length and has a set of jagged teeth protruding from its jaws. However, as far as sharks go, this big fish shouldn't be cause for alarm. The sand tiger is a relative. This is just a shark lesson now, but basically,
Shark Week.
It is Shark Week. Here's the story. Sharks don't actually want to kill. Well, these particular sharks off Long Island don't actually want to kill you. They just think that your feet are fish. The sand tiger is a relatively docile species of shark that wants little to nothing to do with humans. Attacks are almost always carried out by smaller juveniles that accidentally bite someone while chasing fish. Does this give you any solace, Nick?
A little bit. My thing is, when I think of sharks, I typically don't think of the Northeast. Honestly, I didn't think they had, I'm sure they did, but I don't think about sharks in New York.
Oh, so you were previously not, if you would have just, waded off there off the coast of Long Island, you wouldn't have been worried about sharks at all. And now it turns out you actually sort of do need to be worried about sharks a little bit.
I would be worried about finding a lot more off of the coast of New York than sharks.
Oh yeah, no, I've been swimming off Long Island before. It's not the cleanest. It's certainly not blue.
We crossed the bay once in middle school. Went on the field trip to New York, and just between New Jersey and the Statue of Liberty, it was the worst water I've seen in my life.
That's not where you want to be.
No,
that's not where you want to be. But it is where some sharks are. But don't worry. Well, I mean, worry a little bit because they still might think your feet are fish. But just understand that the reasoning behind it is not menacing. These are not predatorial fish in terms of humans, or sharks in terms of humans. They just think that your feet are fish.
Yeah.
So
no,
I
it's
think
like don't kink shame the sharks, you know?
that should just make everybody feel a little bit better. Story number 2. Cat food brand will let humans eat its latest fancy feast.
Oh. What
right.
do we know what flavor it is?
Well, let's find out. This is from the Huffington Post. Cat food brand Fancy Feast wasn't kidding around this week when it announced it would open a temporary cat food inspired restaurant for humans in New York City. Classic. It is called Gatto Bianco.
I love the name.
By Fancy Feast. A 2-day pop-up will be an Italian-style trattoria and culinary experience with recipes inspired by the brand's food, according to a press release.
So what I get off of this is like the pictures you see on the cat food. Is that just going to be what they serve the people? Because they put those pictures on like, oh, see, it's like your cat's getting a full 4-course dinner.
Well, that's sort of my question. Like, don't they make the cat? Don't they brand the cat food so it's kind of like human food? Like, like they make it a flavor of a human food, but it's not actually that. It's just so that you'll buy it.
I guess I thought they would just like get dried fish or whatever and grind it up.
I imagine that's still what they do, but they have to market it somehow. So they want the food to look like it tastes good because you're the one buying it, not the cats. The brand also teased an appearance by the fluffy white Fancy Feast cat.
So what kind of people do we think are going to come to this? Because it feels like that's a very niche audience.
Yeah, but I think there's enough people in New York to open up a business of literally any kind. That's my operating theory. I think you could probably open up a business in New York, market it, make it seem cool, like market to hipsters, and people will show up, especially if you're only doing a 2-week pop-up. Like, this is about the boundary of it, right? A 2-week pop-up where we're doing cat food inspired food for humans. I mean, doesn't work anywhere else in the world.
I don't even know if I can't see it working anywhere else in the world. I don't know if this is a boundary, though. I think people could get weirder. I think this might be goalpost moving, but I think it might if we can do this, then we could do dog food next.
I wonder what the next step is. I wonder what the next move is beyond this. We'll have to put our heads together and think about that one. Maybe there's an opportunity, Nick, to open a business in New York.
They have leftover fish. They could put it in the bay for the sharks.
The menu was made possible by the brand chef Amanda Hassner and Michelin star winning Italian chef Cesar Casella, a chef who has been seen on Iron Chef America and Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations.
So this is a big deal. This isn't going to be a cheap restaurant.
I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it. It is an expensive cat food restaurant. That's what I'm getting here.
I feel like it doesn't matter almost that it's Fancy Feast. Because it just sounds like they're making a bunch of dishes and like, oh yeah, Fancy Feast.
Yeah. The more that I read about it, it seems like it doesn't actually have anything to do with cat food. It's just branded that way. Which, I mean, come on. You should actually serve. Maybe they serve it in those little tiny tins.
That'd be nice. Maybe it's just surrounded by cats.
And finally, the third and final story here on the Odd News. I don't know if you've heard about this, Nick. There is a bizarre conspiracy theory that Eminem died in 2006 and was replaced by a clone.
It's always musicians that are replaced by clones. I haven't heard this about Eminem, but I've heard it about
Avril Lavigne. That's the only one I could think of where this has happened. I don't know.
Paul McCartney. People believe that about Paul McCartney too.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
People think Paul McCartney died?
Yeah. Peterson can tell you more about that conspiracy theory. He likes that one a
lot. Okay, so this one's from the Lad Bible, which is a very reputable source.
Mm-hmm.
In yet another wacky internet conspiracy theory, it has been claimed that Eminem died back in 2006 and was quite simply replaced by an android clone. Of course, we all know the likelihood of this being true is highly unlikely, but apparently the Slim Shady rapper is no more and has been switched with a clone. The drama all started when fans noticed a change in his voice over the years. Of course, we all know that singers and rappers experience a change in voice over the years due to a number of factors, including aging and strain. But sure, being replaced by a drone is definitely one of those factors. And then Spanish website La Guía del Varón decided to pour even more fuel on the fire by addressing Eminem as an android clone and claiming that he died in a car accident in 2006. Quote, in 2006, Eminem died in a car accident, the newspaper reported in their portals. Which that gives us a lot of great detail. Fans also started to pick apart change in appearance over the years, with many pointing out a huge change in his jaw shape and overall facial structure. Quote, yeah, I believe he's a clone. It doesn't even look like him anymore, and his eyes are dead, one fan even wrote. And then, Nick, there's more, came the lyrics. The theory points out that since 2006, when he supposedly died, the rapper has made significant changes to the lyrics he's popping out, and that his style of dress has also changed, adding that he now puts a great emphasis on the hip-hop lifestyle and has changed to a much darker style. Also being used in the case that Eminem is a drone or a clone or whatever. He's not a drone, he's a clone. Things took a turn in 2013 when the footage of Eminem glitching on an ESPN, this is a broadcast of a college football game, remember this, with Brett Musburger. I don't think he was glitching. I think he's just a weirdo. Which was hyped up even more in 2016 when rapper B.O.B. posted a series of cryptic tweets claiming human cloning has been around for years. There's many reasons why Eminem could be a clone, Nick.
So that's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I know.
So they said 2006, right?
2006 he died.
So that was between his two albums, Encore and Relapse. Encore was 2004, Relapse was 2009, and he was doing a bunch of features and stuff between then. So I think if he would have died, then I feel like that would be more of a thing other than right now, you know?
So you think if he would have died, 2006 would have been a convenient time for him to die and us not hear about it?
I mean, yeah, but also I don't like the reasoning. I'm not behind the reasoning on this. I think we could get, it's not as airtight as they think it is.
Okay, let me
they
give you a
list
couple
like,
more.
oh,
there's a couple more reasons. In 2019, the release of Tom MacDonald's cloned rapper's music video sent believers of the theory into a frenzy, with MacDonald claiming that in his song that Illuminati took some bone samples to clone rappers and then put the real beings in prison to silence their vision. If they can't control you, they erase the old you, he continues, before listing some of the names that have been cloned during, including the likes of Gucci, Kodak, and, of course, Eminem. People are buying this on the internet, and that's basically the end of the story.
I know somebody who listens to a lot of hip-hop and who subscribes heavily to the Illuminati and hip-hop theory. And they'll even point out little parts of songs like, oh, in this song he says he sold his soul, and he sold his soul to the Illuminati. And then in music videos, they'll put up the triangle with their hands. I feel like people are trying to find things that aren't there, you know?
So did we actually ever do the research? Like when I listened to Stairway to Heaven backwards, was that actually the devil trying to get inside my brain, or was that just made up?
I feel like...
You remember when people were doing that, Nick?
Yeah, I've never tried it.
Okay. Yeah, no, that was the whole internet thing. Like, this is early stages of the internet, at least how it stands right now. Like, I don't know, weird blogs or whatever. They were like, listen to this song backwards. But then the thought was like, actually, this is just a totally separate recording and it's not the same. And I think it was just an elaborate prank, really, altogether. I don't know, but there's some people that still say, hey, look, maybe Eminem's actually dead and there's a clone of him that's rolling around right now. Or that you'll be possessed by the devil if you listen to Stairway to Heaven backwards. I don't know. Who knows?
I think the thing they blew past when I think that they think it's weird that they think that Rap God, you know, Rap God.
Yeah.
Where he just, yeah. When he does that, they don't list that as a reason he could be an android or a clone. This inhuman.
He sounds like a
rapping.
robot. He sounds like a robot when he does Rap God.
But in that song, he glitches too, Happer. He glitches in Rap God.
Oh, no. By the way, he did not glitch when he was on with Brett Musburger in 2013. He was just on a lot of drugs. It's fine. Which is probably something that a clone would do. And maybe that's another reason why he is a clone of himself. I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist in the first place. Maybe we should get Damon Benning's opinion on this. He was around here earlier, but I think he might have left by now. This one's doesn't have quite enough for me.
I'm not buying this one.
Needs some more points.
I need a little more meat to this, other than, his face shape changed and in a few years and he's wearing different clothes.
All right. Official Connor Happer show conclusion on conspiracy theory of Eminem is dead. Incorrect. Eminem is alive. Congratulations to Eminem for still being alive.
Congrats on the not death Eminem.
Thank you, Nick. We will come back 1 o'clock hour. We'll see if who else is around here for a couple interviews. High school players, coaches still floating around at media days out at Elkhorn High School. If not 1 o'clock hour, we will touch on plenty of the things that happened in Nebraska football practice and some things from over the weekend. Next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Dan Thompson of Thompson & Thompson, third generation roofing, siding, gutters, and more, where they're celebrating 25 years of business.
Thank you, Omaha, and all the communities around for putting your trust in us for 25 years. Integrity is what our customers like about us, and they know they can trust us to protect their home and make it look great. Call Thompson & Thompson third generation today and become one of the thousands of customers who are glad they did. Or click thompsonthird.com.
1620 The Zone, live and local, broadcasting 6A to 6P in the Host Coffee Zone studio. Host Coffee, building healthy and happy break room refreshment services to Omaha and Lincoln metro area businesses. Discover a better break room solution for your office at sales@hostcoffee.net.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
Frank's Pizzeria, an Omaha favorite, is this week's half-off deal. You'll receive two $20 gift vouchers, a value of $40 for just $20. Frank's Pizzeria is Omaha's home for true New York pizza, calzones, stromboli, pasta, sandwiches, salads, and desserts, now with 2 locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. All right, we're at Media Days, high school Media Days, which is a new thing for us. Mike Sauter's put it on, has done a really cool job out here. We've talked to a bunch of people from around the metro already. As you may know from listening to the show, I'm a Central alum. So we're sitting down with the Central guys right now. I told them it's all softballs. It's all softballs for you guys. Coach Landstrom is with us as they get ready for their season, and Jamison Kemp and Draven Schnazi is here as well. Guys, welcome.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah. How's the summer gone so far?
The summer's gone about as well as it could. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of construction up at Central this year. Today was actually the first day all summer we've been able to work out at Central, either in the weight room or on the field. But, we've been able to go to the Warren Academy. We worked out at Blackburn High School. So we kind of had to bounce around, but starting with these guys here, the seniors have done a tremendous job making sure kids get there, and we've worked hard and done about as well as we can. So we're excited. It's getting close. It's here.
I mean, for you guys as leaders, what's the summer been like, sort of getting everybody in order and getting ready to roll here? Practice starts next week?
Yes, sir. Summer's definitely been a little different this year, but I think with summer being different, it definitely made us as a team better with not being able to be at Central and having more responsibility to get to different places at different times. It definitely fell on us as senior leaders to really step up and just get it done.
It's definitely helped with chemistry a little bit too, being out of our comfort zone, just getting to know each other, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been asking a lot of people about this, but you got a whole bunch of people doing different sports and stuff like that. You guys play multiple sports?
I
Wrestle.
I do powerlifting.
So stuff during, whether you have stuff during the summer or other obligations at other times, I mean, it can be difficult, and you want to have a summer too. So it can be sort of difficult to zone in on football right away. So you got to like to do it, right? And so that's where it sort of starts, right?
Yes, sir. That's always the thing we have. We have our own group chat with all the players. And one of the first things I think we ever said was make sure you love football first, because I think with the culture we have, we want to be a playoff team this year, and we just want everybody to be really committed and people who really love the game to come out.
Yeah, Coach, I mean, are you seeing a lot of that reflected? I guess, how has that grown over the last couple of years and getting what you want as far as a culture to be there?
Well, yeah, that was – probably our number one focus in the offseason was improving team culture, team chemistry, all that stuff. And we've been working hard at that to improve that. And the summer, these guys have done a good job, and we've stuck to that. And that's something we kind of preach every day. And even into last spring and even in the winter, we've done that. And these guys have led the way and really done everything we asked. So, it starts with that culture and setting the tone for how we want things done, and I think we've made strides in that area.
You've been around a long time. You know what a winning team looks like. How long? Okay, so how long have you been at Central now?
This will be my 17th year.
17. So Coach Landstrom was one of my coaches.
For sure.
This is legit.
Sure.
There's no way he remembers anything about me playing football, because I played football for 1 year and it wasn't great. But he's been around a long time, so you've seen a lot of stuff. I guess as it's almost 20 years now.
Right.
What is there anything that stands out to you about this group of guys that you have? Not to compare eras to eras.
For sure. But like this group has really bought in, and it seems like the good teams, whether, I coach basketball too, football, Jameson will tell you on the wrestling team, the best teams we've had at Central, the guys have bought in, and this team has seemed to done that, seemed to do that so far. So that's what we're excited, the X's and O's and the wins and losses, we're going to put our best foot forward, but the buy-in has started, and that's like always the first step. So I think they've done that, and that's what I've seen over the year.
So when you guys tell people about your team, about Central football, what do you want them to know? Like, what do you tell them first about whether it's the personalities on your team or what you do as a football team? Like, what's the outstanding quality about Central Eagle football?
I tell them we got a lot of heart, just a lot of heart, a lot of talent. We just got to put it together and make it work this year.
Yeah, Jameson.
For sure. I know one of the first things I always tell people is that we have amazing team chemistry. Team chemistry is always something that you need because you can have a lot of great individual players, but if they can't play together, then you don't have a team.
Yeah, that goes a long way.
Absolutely. I always tell the guys, like, in a perfect world, we'd win every game 77-0, but other teams practice too. Other teams, we play a tough schedule. We're probably going to get scored on this year, and there's going to be a time this year where we're going to be down, and that's the chemistry, the buy-in, the culture that you need to rely on when times get tough, and you got to keep fighting and like we said, playing with a lot of heart.
You mentioned the schedule. I mean, and you guys can speak to this too, just the quality of competition that you guys see in your opponents around the Metro. I'll ask Coach about it in a second, but what do you guys see when you look around at other teams?
I see a lot of teams that are really good, but I've got high hopes we're going to beat them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm always on, I'm always on Twitter, different like Instagram apps, just looking at, different teams. And, like Lanshan was already saying, other teams practice and everything like that. But I think when it comes down to being like really being a team, I think Central is the best team, as in like coming together. And really,
so I've asked people about this too. How close are you guys with you guys know people on other teams? And that's so much different from, when I was in high school 12 years ago, it was a little bit more like your school is your school. Now everybody knows everybody. Everybody's connected by social media. Like when you go up against people that it has to make it, make you want to win more, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a different feeling, especially when you've known certain people for so long. I've been wrestling since I was a kid, so
that's a tight knit community.
Wrestling's always like the best wrestling in my opinion, and everybody grows up together. Whether it's the Nebraska boys or Exploradors, anything like that. So when I go up against teams and I see people I used to wrestle against, it just makes me be like, it brings back like old rivalries. And it really makes me go harder.
Coach Landstrom, I mean, there's been a lot of teams that have popped up and had success over the years, and now it feels like it's maybe deeper than ever.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you look across the Metro, you're not going to find a week off. It's tough, and we got a tough schedule, and there's so many good teams and players that are moving on to college, and so it's competitive. A lot of good coaches out there, and it's tough. It's competitive. You got to bring it each week, and that's why that off season is key, to prepare your body and know what you're doing to bring it each week.
Yeah, I mean, from the recruiting standpoint too. I mean, it's not easy to play college football, but it's easier now to get noticed if that's your goal, right?
I think so, especially through, whether it's through the internet, social media, or these schools really emphasize going to their individual camps and stuff. You can get noticed, and that's good. That provides more opportunities for our athletes to go to college and play and just more opportunities post high school.
As a team, what are your guys's, whether it's a win-loss or some individual goals that you have when you think about this season? What do you want to get accomplished, first and foremost, and then as you go on down the line, what are your guys' goals?
Our big goal is definitely win the championship, but the main goal is get to the playoffs and at least win a game there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Biggest team goal for sure is become a playoff team. Just make that a tradition, and then
just show the whole metro area that Central's a team that's going to be good this year.
You guys talk about expectations in the locker room?
For sure. We've said, our goal is to make the playoffs, and that's where it starts. And then when you make the playoffs, anything can happen after that. But it's been too long since we've been in the playoffs, and Central has a lot of tradition, and that needs to change. And this group has definitely done the things that needed to during the summer to make that change. So
Yeah.
we're excited and we're ready to go. And August 8th can't get here soon enough.
Well, I'm rooting for you as much as I
For
can.
sure. And I just want to plug too, August 26th, our home opener.
Go ahead.
That's when they're dedicating the Gail Sayers statue out in
Awesome.
front of the stadium. So we're hoping for a big turnout. That's a cool deal. So we're excited for that. Our great alumni like yourself have made that possible. So we're looking forward to that on August 26th, our home opener against Northwest.
Awesome. Thanks for stopping by, guys.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate your coverage of high school sports.
Those are the guys from Omaha Central. As we'll take a break and we'll switch some things out. We'll get the boys from Bennington in here next on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
This is not just some Omaha media or 1620 The Zone or Tom Chattel. It's not a manufactured observation.
It's not a locally centric thing.
Right. There were other people in the room who saw the same things we observed.
And the part that caught my attention was disgruntled. Basically describing Scott Frost as a disgruntled employee.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Hot and steamy this afternoon with a high in Omaha near 95 degrees, but feeling closer to 100. Heading into tonight, temperatures stay pretty warm into the mid-70s with mostly clear skies, and we will see a chance for a stray thunderstorm early this evening. Hot Tuesday with a heat advisory out for all of eastern Nebraska and western Iowa from 1 until 8 p.m., feeling like 100 to 110 degrees. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Want to know what makes 42 Degrees the source for Kratom, CBD, Delta, and a whole lot more that might be helpful with sore muscles, aching joints, and other ailments? Then stop by any 42 Degree location, talk with the most knowledgeable and friendly staff, and see what Kratom, CBD, and Delta can do for you. Want to know more? Then go to our website, 42degrees.com, and see what our customers say about our staff. 42 Degrees, your source for all your needs. By your mom's house.
At Dingman's Collision Center, you voted them first place in Best in Omaha for the past 17 years. So they want to say thank you for choosing the Dingman family and their incredible technicians to repair your vehicles. At Dingman's, they'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
Join the Omaha Storm Chasers for Military Appreciation Night presented by RTG Medical on Thursday, August 4th at Werner Park. The Storm Chasers will feature patriotic jerseys, and there'll be a special pregame concert by the U.S. Air Force Heartland of America band, Raptor. Don't miss Military Appreciation Night. Get your tickets at omahastormchasers.com.
Get on your feet, stir up the storm. Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm with family.
The biannual blowout is just a week away, and we've got a lot of work to do.
Keenan's Rug Emporium is rolling out a Labor Day bonanza.
We have that flat weave shipment coming in.
He needs 10 new sales associates as the crowds loom large.
Someone run a stock check on all the Moroccan 8x10s?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Central States Kayak Series presents the first annual Fishing for Families event brought to you by Shields in support of Ronald McDonald House Charities in Omaha. Saturday, August 6th, come catch some bass with Fishing for Families. Enjoy Javi's Tacos or Dire Lion food trucks, sip on some local craft beer, dance to music, and take your chance on winning some amazing auction and raffle prizes. Come out to Cross Strain Brewing and Pint 9 Brewing for the biggest catch family-friendly event. Get details at rmhcomaha.org/fishing.
Teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
All right, welcome back. More of the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mentioned, you never know where you're going to get a surprise. We're at media days. It happens. People roll through. So sometimes you wait. Sometimes there's nothing going on for an hour, and then they keep coming. So we just talked to Central. Let's go back to back, and we go to the Class B, the defending Class B state champs, and the Bennington Badgers, who have showed up here to media days at Elkhorn. Guys, welcome. Coach Lenhart, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Excellent. How's that sound? Defending state champs. Now you got to defend it, though.
It's a great sound, but we're excited to get going to do that.
We're also here with Trey Bird and Isaac Connor. Guys, welcome in. Once again, I'll ask you the same question. How's that sound? Pretty good? Really good. Defending. Go ahead. Try that again. Defending state champs. Pretty good.
Really good.
That's the drop the mic moment right there. So how do you go about, I mean, obviously winning the games, playing the games, that's how you actually defend the title. How do you talk about it? Do you talk about it? I guess what kind of pressure comes along with it? We'll start with the players first. I'll ask Coach too.
I mean, we don't really talk about it too much because it's in the past. So we're ready to get back after it this year. And yeah, we had fun with it, but we're ready to go chase another one.
Do you flip the page, just new season completely?
Yep.
As much as you can, Coach, right?
Exactly.
That's it can be a tough thing to do though, right? I mean, you want to continue off of what you did last year. You want to carry some of that in, but at the same time, it's a new team with new goals.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're going to be able to learn from things we did last year and kind of build of what we've done. But at the same time, Trey said exactly, it's a new team, it's a new year. They're ready to rewrite their own story.
How do you go about replacing, one of the most productive players I think that I've seen in the high school level in Dylan Mostick?
Yeah, I've been saying it all the time. I don't think you replace him. You just find new players that are going to make plays for us. And I think we definitely have that. We have guys that played last year significantly, Isaac and Trey being both of them, that can make plays. And they showed that. We have newcomers coming up. Nick Colbert was a guy who played last year who's going to be tremendous for us. But we have Johnny Williams, KJ Taffa, guys that we know can make plays, who've done it at the lower level. It's now their time to shine. Yeah. And so we don't replace. We just refuel and replenish at other places and let them do what they know.
Isaac and Trey, I mean, how much excitement is there for you? You don't want to lose a guy like that, but it happens. Guys move on, they get older and they graduate. But is there an excitement to see sort of what the next wave has?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what the next wave has. Because I've been seeing these guys in practice or whatever when we go throw routes and stuff. So I'm excited for them to show kind of the other people in the state what they're capable of doing.
Yeah, give us an idea of. I mean, speaking, I'd like to talk about it in a wave, and I've asked a lot of teams about this already. But you guys basically grown up together. I mean, it's a tight knit community there. How long have you guys known each other and sort of waited for this moment?
I would say most of us since kindergarten or early elementary school. I mean, Bennington's been blowing up recently, but
no doubt.
Back when we were in kindergarten, I mean, things were just, a lot smaller. Classes were smaller, and we've kind of kept the same core guys. What I'm thinking of right now, I mean, a lot of the guys that we have that we are looking forward to showing have been in Bennington for pretty much their whole lives. So.
Yeah. I mean, what is that, Coach? I mean, how do you – it's not a difficult thing to navigate. It's preferred, right, to have a tight-knit community and a group that sort of comes up together. But you sort of have to – you have to put your stamp on it too. I guess how do you sort of interact with it being that way?
I think we let them be who they are.
Yeah.
They grew up, they have the connections, and our job is just to help guide those guys and put them in the best position so they can be successful. At the end of the day, they're going to be the ones that are making the plays. So I think what's special about it is that they've been doing it together since they were that young.
Yeah.
And so you throw what I'd love to have seen these last couple of years is the tight knit has always been there, but when a few people get added in, they bring them in just like they were growing up with them. Dylan was a kid who did not grow up in Bennington, but you wouldn't have guessed that just seeing by the way they acted last year. And we have tons of kids that are like that. And that's what I think is so special about Bennington. When I first got hired as a teacher there, the one thing they told me that really sold it was people still care about who's playing on Friday night. Our community is huge, but at the same time, it still has that small town feeling, and people show up for it, and it's tremendous.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's really cool. We're here with the contingent here from Bennington. When you guys, Trey and Isaac, when you think about the upcoming season, is there a thing or two that stands out to you, whether it's a goal or something on the schedule that you're a thing or two that you're excited to go through this year, whether it's for the first time or the second or the third?
I would say
Highest potential.
Coach Cam Lenhart, Trey Bird, Isaac Connor, we appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. This has been a lot of fun. Good luck this year, and have a lot of fun with it. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for this.
That's the guys from Bennington. We will come right back with more on 1620 The Zone.
Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Would you rather that your roof or siding last 5 years or 50 years? I'm Dan Thompson of Thompson & Thompson 3rd Generation. Products today last much longer. Gone are the days of just tear shingles off, nail shingles on. Whether it's impact resistant, high wind tolerance, or in the case of EuroShield hail-proof rubber shingles, you can have great designer looks and durability. At Thompson & Thompson 3rd Generation, we don't just give you an estimate. We educate you and give you options. So you decide, 5 or 50. Click Thompson 3rd today and start enjoying your new roof or siding.
Hello, I'm Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. If you've been dissatisfied with your current banking situation, maybe it's time to move to a bank that works to deserve your business. We have an engaged staff that offers exceptional personalized service. We also have a great digital banking platform. We have 2 locations at 108th and Dodge or 202nd and Pacific. So if you're looking for a superior banking relationship, give us a call at 402-827-8100. We'll answer on the first ring. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Heading to a cookout with family or friends? Heading home from a ball game? Or heading no place in particular on a random weekday? All seems like great reasons to head over to Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream. Hey, it's Damon Benning from Sharp and Benning in the Morning. Ice cream on a hot summer day or night is awesome. And ice cream from Ted and Wally's is even awesomer. Yes, it's a word. You know me. I make them up, but not this time. Cones, cups, pints, quarts, even half gallons to go. Head to Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream. Celebrating more than 35 years, 2 locations, Benson and the Old Market. Visit tedandwallys.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
This message is for the guy who isn't perfect in the bedroom. And let's be honest, who is? Maybe the issue is getting it up or keeping it up, or maybe it's finishing too soon. If any of these performance hiccups sound familiar to you, don't sweat it. Hims can help. At 4hims.com, you can go online and get clinically proven prescription medication that treats these issues prescribed for you, if appropriate, by licensed medical providers. And the medication is shipped free to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, Hims gives you unlimited follow-up visits with medical providers. No one's perfect in the bedroom every time, but with Hims, you can get a lot closer than before. And chances are your partner will agree.
To get started today, go to forhims.com/perfect. That's forhims.com/perfect for your free visit. forhims.com/perfect.
5X480. Dated B100 V-Belt, one of the many parts Grainger carries. It's also the item that helped Rob carry the day. The job was on hold, deadline fast approaching, but a quick search on Grainger.com and Rob found his part. And with same-day pickup at his local branch, he and his crew got the job done, safely and on time. Get supplies and solutions for every industry with real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Planning something fun for your office, family, or friends? Joe's Karting is for you. Take a break. Come to Joe's to race, relax, and recharge. Great for team building. Ditch the speaker and burn some rubber. Trust us, Joe says you'll leave motivated. Joe's Karting race packages range from providing simple stress relief races to the real deal race experience. Check us out at joeskarting.com. Remember, go to Joe's, your place to race.
All right, welcome back. We're the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. We are at Elkhorn High School, where it's media days for high school athletes. Just talked to the folks from Ashland Greenwood out there. That's good. The runner-ups in Class C1 last year. But let's talk some Husker football, as there was open practice this morning for 20 minutes, and I haven't seen any hot takes from Mike Schaefer on Twitter yet. Schaefer, hello. How are you?
I couldn't really, put together any hot takes. I was busy playing Ansel Adams, getting some of the best photos anyone's really ever seen. So,
wow.
When you're looking through the lens, it doesn't give you the opportunity to put together the hottest of the takes.
I haven't heard too many reports on like the music selection either. I felt like that's a normal thing that happens on the first media open practice.
Yeah, as someone who knows me reasonably well, you'll probably know that I never have ever paid attention to what is played musically during practice. So I certainly, I can't really bring you a whole lot. I guess I'm pretty much worthless for you here.
No, this is why I'm asking you the questions, because I know that you're not going to have answers to them. This is exactly why, because I figure these are your favorite types of questions. What's the music like, and what are the hot takes? But realistically, was there anything that sort of stood out to you just from an observation standpoint, whether it's a body type, or I always like to look at the younger guys who come in and sort of what that looks like right away. You get a sense of who could be ready to play in a couple of weeks. Like, was there anything in that regard?
It's hard to say. So I think one of the things that's difficult with kind of sizing up this team, and I think if you had been down here, Connor, you'd probably agree with this. Like, everything just feels slightly different because there's so many different pieces. And so when you're watching the wide receivers warm up, you almost have overload because you're trying to get eyes on Trey Palmer. You're trying to get eyes on Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda, who we really haven't seen, at all. Marcus Washington is there now. Oh, by the way, Alante Brown and all these other guys are expected to kind of pop up as well. So I think part of it for me this year is, your head is whipping everywhere because there's so many people that you're accustomed to seeing that are no longer there, that everything kind of just feels new. I mean, you got the quarterbacks are out there throwing, and it's just kind of weird. We didn't see them obviously in the spring, but we didn't have open practice in the spring. It's just sort of weird. Like, there is no presence of Adrian Martinez. I have to say that stands out a little bit because for 4 years, that's just kind of what you grew accustomed to. So that was a little bit different, where you have Casey Thompson up there kind of leading the stretching, leading the clapping and the hoorahs before they got out there to do some special teams work and everything else. If people want to take note of that, I think both he and Chubba Purdy were, up at the top sort of line of people standing there facing the rest of the team out. So whether that means anything or not, I don't know. But, it's just, there's a lot of sort of freshness, I guess, if you will, around everything, because there's just so many different pieces, from coaches to assistants to players. It's just all looks and acts a little bit different.
It's funny that you mention it that way. And there's actually a lot of thoughts I have on that. Like, the leadership part of it will be interesting to see how that develops. But I find it funny how, we talk about the things that Casey Thompson does as a leader, and it almost has to be sort of mentioned. It's like, oh, okay, what's Chubba Purdy doing? Like, how long throughout camp do you think that'll keep going, considering we're, there's going to be a starting quarterback at some point, and they have to figure out who that is?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be that way into probably the third week of August. And then at that point, maybe it just sort of settles into, okay, well, it's Casey's job while he has it, kind of thing. So I don't know that there's going to be a specific day where Frost or Whipple or whoever is just like, yep, that's our guy. He's our starting quarterback, kind of has been all along. But, if that were to come, probably still going to be a few weeks out from it. So I think Chubba Purdy has every intention to make this a difficult decision for Frost and Whipple. And so he's healthy and, he's out there. I think it would have been really interesting this spring had he been healthy the whole time. But this isn't, for him, this isn't supposed to be a walkover. So it's kind of on him to keep the pressure on every day, bro.
Who's as fall camp goes on, you mentioned how everything is sort of new. Who would you expect to emerge as from a leadership perspective outside of, we're talking about on offense and not Casey Thompson? Is it just Travis Vokalek and then you sort of build down from there?
Yeah, Travis Vokalek, Trey Palmer, Ramir Johnson, those are the guys that have sort of taken on assumed roles. I think Turner Corcoran's going to be kind of the leader of the offensive line. I think that's kind of his personality. He's maybe the X factor of this whole offensive line setup, because if he's an interior offensive lineman versus a tackle, it sort of changes the complexion of what Nebraska's offensive line looks like. But I think he's going to be heavily involved, and I kind of just feel like he's going to step into one of those kind of leadership roles. But there's a little bit of a void, from what they've had in previous years. Certainly no Cam Jurgens, no Matt Sichterman, and then going way back, no Matt Farniak. So there's kind of been that void as there is, and I think that Turner Corcoran's going to kind of take that for the offensive line. Wide receivers, like I said, Trey Palmer, feels like that's very much going to be him. And then a lot of guys sort of falling into the spots there. And then at running back, it feels like it's Ramir Johnson, but he might be the leader of the unit, but he may not be the guy who gets the most carries, if that makes sense. So it's sort of a unique setup where your leadership is probably coming from guys on the roster that maybe aren't the best at their position room. And that's always sort of interesting to note too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7 is with us. I'm still curious about this, and with so much question about who they're going to be or what they're going to be, I mean, who knows where it lands. I've been curious about, the target. I mean, you could start it at like a target points per game or something like that, or you could think about it in terms of what the offense does for the defense and what the defense does for the offense. Last week, I was talking a lot about how, Eric Shenander has always been really okay with the idea that, they're going to be put in some bad spots sometimes. This defense, they lost a lot, especially up front. It's a concern right now for Nebraska on the defensive side of the ball. But I guess, how much do you think they'll, with their offensive game plan and the give and take between the offense and defense, how much do you think they'll try to aid the defense in win football games a little bit closer to that way? I'm just so curious about, I guess, the formula that they are trying to put together and how they're going to try to win football games this year.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think Nebraska's defense has to play, they're playing a different front. They're going to be a different version than the one we've seen the last couple of years. I just don't know that they're going to be as strong on the interior without Damian Daniels there, or you really need Ty Robinson plus someone else to make a pretty big jump to help with your run defense. So I think Nebraska is going to be a lot better rushing the passer. Adding O'Shawn Mathis and putting Garrett Nelson at defensive end, and I think Caleb Tanner is going to have a lot to do with that too. But it's sort of like you might have shorn things up there. They might have a more talented defensive back room now, which is kind of remarkable because you just had Cam Taylor-Britt go to the NFL, and you had very steady veterans in Markel Dismuke and Deontay Williams, plus JoJo Doman was essentially a defensive back. But I really like how that room sets up. So I feel like Nebraska is built really well to defend the pass this year. It's just, can they slow teams down enough when they try to run that it forces them to have to throw the ball? Because I think that kind of plays into Nebraska's hands a little bit. So they might be a more big play defense in 2022, but struggle more in terms of early down if they can't stop the run. Like, I don't know if that makes sense as I say it out loud.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Last year, they very much felt like, okay, you're going to get a few first downs, but we're going to get you off the field, or we're going to force a long field goal or whatever. This year, it kind of feels like, okay, maybe they're moving the ball a little bit, but if they put it in the air, we got a chance for a strip sack, we got a chance for an interception, we got a chance for an 8-yard loss on a pass rush. It might be a little bit more boom or bust in 2022 than the safety that Nebraska's defense afforded in 2020 and 2021. I don't know how that works in complementary with an offense that I have no clue what they're going to look like.
Right.
So it's sort of hard to say how it might blend together, but that's my initial impression of what this defense could be in 2022.
I don't disagree with any of that at all. And my first thought is, I think that sort of defense makes more sense for, 2018 Nebraska or even like 2017 UCF or something like that. Yeah, it's weird.
It sort of feels like if you could take a steady offense and put it with that steady defense, great, or you need an explosive offense to go up an explosive defense. And it's just kind of, you might have that explosive offense. It's way too early for anyone to say at this point in time. It could all work out very well.
Yeah, I that's one of the more curious things. I mean, I think people draw the line from, they're going to throw the ball and they're going to throw it more. I mean, Whipple has always done that in his history. They're going to throw it probably more than they run it this year. I don't know that exactly equates to this is going to be a high flying, upper 30 points a game per game offense. But what could it be? Like, that's sort of the question. I think there's such a big gap between, what it could look like if it really works out, and then, if it's just average. Like, I guess, what is that range?
Yeah, I mean, I think I sort of expect it to at least be competent to, potentially great. And if it's great, I guess what it looks like to me is that on pretty much any given offensive play, they've got 4 different guys who can potentially burn a defense. And I don't mean just with like an 80-yard pass play or anything, but just like guys that can consistently get open. And it relies heavily on a quarterback that can read that defense and know where the ball's supposed to be based on its keys. And so, if Casey Thompson can do that, if he can basically just play pitch and catch, I think Nebraska has a chance to have an offense that could be, pretty good. I don't know yet if they have the ability to lean on a team and just run right at them and then just force their will. But I think that it's going to rely pretty heavily on, okay, you drop back, you got an option with Trey Palmer, you got an option with Travis Vokolek, Ramir Johnson, either in the slot or coming out of the backfield, and maybe you got Isaiah Castaneda going deep. So, I mean, it's really going to be relying on smart decision making. It's not all that different than what Adrian Martinez was asked to do. You just don't have the guy who I think is going to consistently take pressure and turn it into a 40-yard run. But that's really where a big difference feels like.
Schaefer, what happened with Ashley Williams? And in his statement, there was obviously a line that stood out that says there was a recent lapse in communication. I guess, what do you boil that situation down to?
Here's kind of what I know based on conversations I had before he had even decommitted, is that some people that were involved with Nebraska's recruitment of him liked him a lot. I don't know that it was a consensus feeling on him. There's some numbers, potential numbers issues that they could run into, but it really came down to, do you think this is a guy that can help you or not? And I don't know that Nebraska is on the same page there. So they have to figure that out. I mean, that's part of what happens when you go out and you get new coaches and you basically just say, all right, go get the best players you can. Well, You're not just recruiting your position, and not every position coach loves every recruit or commit that's brought in. I mean, that's the reality of it, and especially when you're sort of in this, everyone's trying to do what makes them look good thing too. So it's I don't know. There's stuff Nebraska has to figure out with their operation. There's no question. But in the meantime, I feel like they lost a kid in Ashley Williams that was the exact type of pass rusher they've struggled to recruit over the years. So it felt weird to me that Nebraska wasn't all in on.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of felt odd it sort of came out of nowhere unless you really, really follow it sort of like yourself, Schaefer. Like it, I don't know, to the general recruiting fan or the general Nebraska fan is like, okay, who is this? And I don't know, it just sort of felt off from the beginning, and maybe that's what you're referring to. That's certainly that's odd that you wouldn't have the backside of it, the internal part of it sort of tied up, I guess, before you accept the public commitment.
Yeah, well, that's some of the difficulty. A kid commits during a period of time where guys are on the vacation. It's one of the few weeks of the year that they can actually get away where there's no recruiting. I don't begrudge the coaches for that at all. It's just more so, I don't think this is the only situation like that among Nebraska's commitments. I don't think it's the only situation like that among recruiting that's going on for the Huskers. So they have to figure that out. They can't let this be more than a one-time thing.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Odd situation there. All right, Schaefer, we'll let you go. Appreciate the time. Feel free to tweet out some hot takes whenever they come across your brain there.
I'll ask notable youth Brian Christopherson what music was being played, and I'm sure he'll look at me like I'm an idiot. So I'll let you know how that goes.
All right, see you, Schaefer.
See you guys.
That is Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7. We wrap things up here. By the way, we have Nick's bottom 5, which is coming up shortly, which I am extremely excited about. I have a lot, Nick, I don't know if it's about F1. Like, I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but I'm excited to hear it. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's go back to that last part with Ashley Williams. So the statement from him at over the weekend, decommitting from Nebraska. He takes a visit to Auburn this weekend. He says, I'd like to thank the University of Nebraska, Coach Scott Frost and Mickey Joseph for all the time and effort during the recruiting process. In light of recent events and lapse in communication, my family and I think it's the best that I decommit and refocus at this time. I want to express my gratitude for every opportunity and give a special shout out to Nebraska fans and Coach Joseph for his relentless efforts. So it's a little peek behind the curtain there. Usually it's just, hey, I'm decommitting. Going to reopen things back up. Like to thank Nebraska. Like to thank whoever I'm decommitting from. Appreciate it. And then you move on. But there's a little, a sentence in there. In light of recent events and lapse in communication. That doesn't sound particularly good. And you heard Schaefer sort of explain it there. This is certainly something that cannot be a thing going forward. We're talking about staff communication, guys being on the same page. And not everybody has to be on the same page in terms of who you like and who you don't like. But because this is a thing in coaching staffs around the country. A coach on the team might love him, another coach might not get it. And these are just different people and how they view football. This happens from us football fans watching pre-NFL draft stuff or high school stuff. You'll look at a guy that everybody loves and you'll say, I just don't know. I just don't get it. And whatever the reason is the reason for you, as long as you have a reason. But so this happens in coaching staffs all across the country. But here's the issue. Once the offer is out, the offer is out. And that means Nebraska, the University of Nebraska as a university, they want that person. And they, you might not like it or you might not understand it, but you do have to sort of get on board. And that's where I feel like the rub is here. So that's not a particularly great look for Nebraska. And as Schaefer said, I think, Nebraska lost a decently good player there as well. Maybe he was destined for Auburn anyway. And the whole thing's for naught, but Certainly an interesting development from a recruiting perspective also over the weekend. Also, one more thing here before we get to Nick. Baseball trade deadline is 27 hours away here. We have a big one today. What am I going to say? No, I'm not going to say Juan Soto. It's not Juan Soto. It's certainly not yet. So as the time gets closer and closer, obviously the chances get less and less. We'll see. You might expect something to happen today, or I don't know if anything will come in last minute for Juan Soto. But here's the big deal today. The Brewers are trading Josh Hader to the Padres, according to Jeff Passan of ESPN. So the Padres were kind of one of those teams that was in for Juan Soto. Maybe they still are, maybe they aren't, but they had to give up a couple prospects in order to get to where they wanted to go. They're giving up Taylor Rogers, Robert Gasser, and Esteury Ruiz, and Denilson Lamet, who's been a major leaguer before. Hader, of course, will be a free agent after next year. Passan says the Padres didn't give up any of the main prospects they've been talking about in a myriad of other deals. Their top prospects. Could they potentially still get Juan Soto on top of this? The Padres are going for it. The Padres are currently the second wild card team in the National League. So, yeah, let's heat it up. It's about time.
Baseball.
Thank you, Nick. It's about time this trade deadline gets rolling a little bit. We've been pretty bored so far. We'll see what happens before 5 o'clock tomorrow. Nick, I have no idea what your bottom five is about, but I'm excited. What do we have?
My bottom 5 vegetables.
Okay, I love it. Let's go.
So when you guys normally do this, is it a definitive I hate this the least, and then number 1 is I hate this the most, or is it just kind of a grab bag?
No, I think it's the 5 for the bottom 5 for me. It's the 5 that you hate the most. Number 1 being the one that you hate the most.
Okay, perfect.
But 5 is not good.
Right.
It's still bottom 5 bad.
Perfect.
Like Diet Mountain Dew is in my bottom 5 pops. Garbage pop.
Bad take.
I don't hate it the most though.
Number 5 for me is Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts are good. Bad take.
I like Brussels sprouts, but they have to be prepared with like butter and garlic, and it's a very specific way you have to prepare them.
Oh, so you hate Brussels sprouts because of the work, the effort that's put in to make them good?
No, I hate them mostly because there's only one way to make them good. You know, like I'm not just going to eat a raw Brussels sprout. It needs to be coated in butter, which
with that being
defeats the purpose
said,
of it being a veggie.
They are good, or they at least have the potential to be good.
Yes, that's why there's like my 5, because it's got the potential. You know, it's there, but there's some work in it.
Sounds like you're mostly just annoyed by Brussels sprouts.
I'll still eat Brussels sprouts. I like Brussels sprouts.
They're really good. I love Brussels sprouts. I have Brussels sprouts like probably 3 times a week. I'm not kidding. I buy a lot of Brussels sprouts.
I used to eat them more when I lived at home, but my mom would make them with butter and salt and pepper, and she'd throw some bacon in there.
They're just so easy. They're just sometimes I put them in a little thing that I have on the grill. That'll char them up pretty nice, or over the stovetop. It's all good. Just throw some butter or some oil in there. Bang. That's it. That's all you need.
It needs to be prepped.
Okay, I don't think the Brussels sprouts belongs on this list, but let's move on. Number 4.
Celery.
Celery is very good. I will stand on the hill for celery.
Celery is a tool. Celery is a means to an end. So you use it. Peanut butter and celery. Hell yeah. But you still need peanut butter. Or if you're eating wings or something hot, you use that to try to get the hot. But you're not just munching on celery by itself. You're using it as a tool.
The reaction that I always get back from people when I proudly proclaim that I enjoy celery is that celery is pointless. Like,
it's crunchy water.
It's just water. It doesn't have any nutritional value whatsoever. I agree with that. But I think it could, first of all, I think it makes the big honking plate of buffalo wings look good, right? You have some green on there.
But then again, it's an aesthetic thing. It's a tool. Celery is a tool.
Yeah, and I think it has its place because of that. I don't believe it belongs on the bottom 5. I appreciate celery for what it's for. It's hard to love celery. Like I enjoy that it exists though. But so it would not go on my bottom 5.
But celery shines the most only if it's being used with another thing. That's why I think it's a garbage vegetable.
You're right about that.
Number 4 or 3. Thick cut green beans. Not the crunchy ones, but like the ones you'd get like in the can. where they're just kind of mushy in there.
Oh, I kind of like
they don't have
those.
like a snap or anything. They're just disgusting. And I think that's mostly because
the
of
rubbery green beans.
Yeah, like the rubbery green beans. I like the
Yeah.
fresh. I like the snap. I like the long boys, but not these.
I do too.
Mushy,
Yeah,
thick ones.
I would definitely rather like put them over the stovetop and like fry them up rather than put them in the pot and boil them. Like there's just something kind of odd about that. But you throw some salt and pepper on that. That could be a pretty good side. This is not a great list so far, Nick.
No,
I'm not agreeing.
You might hate number 2.
Okay.
Lettuce. Because lettuce and celery are the same to me, but celery still serves a purpose. Lettuce is literally no nutritional value at all whatsoever. It's another tool. It doesn't do anything. There's no flavor.
No. Okay, there's a slight flavor, but I'll let you pass with that one. It does something, and what it does is add the crunch. The crunch is important.
It adds
crunch
a
is
crunch,
important.
You know what else does the same thing and it actually is nutritious? Spinach. Love spinach. Spinach is better than lettuce in every single way.
Spinach has a more defined taste. It does not add the crunch. Spinach is soft.
Spinach is crunchy. I have spinach salads all the time. It's not as crunchy as lettuce, but the trade-off is you're getting nutrition out of spinach anyway.
I'm thinking about it as it's put on like a burger or a chicken sandwich. Like you throw shredded lettuce. Wow, what a thing! You just throw it right on there. It's
I'd rather have
fantastic.
spinach on it.
On the sandwich, on the sub sandwich, they pile that stuff on there like it's like they have infinity amount of shredded lettuce. I'm absolutely fine with that. People are like, less lettuce. I'm like, no, that's fine. Pile it on there.
No, I got
It's
a
great.
sandwich earlier. Easy on the lettuce, always.
No Remember, no customization here either.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
All right. Well, number 1. This is they're all green, by the way.
I hate this one so much.
Yeah.
Rhubarb.
Rhubarb
is a garbage vegetable. The only reason people like rhubarb is because during the Depression, that's like the only thing that could really grow. And I get that. You needed to eat something to keep your tummy full. But we have more food now. We have more options. People have rhubarb strawberry pie, but it's never just like rhubarb by itself. They always mix it with something else that tastes sweeter to mask the flavor.
Okay. I think this is a very appropriate thing to put on the bottom 5 vegetables. I just don't really have an opinion on it because of the things that you said. I don't like people don't actually eat it anymore. I will say this:
they do.
Rhubarb pie. That's horrible.
It's bad.
That's really bad. It's 2 bad things really: rhubarb and pie. No reaction to that.
Pie's good.
Okay.
Pie's good. That took me a second. No, I think rhubarb is still a thing. I don't know if it's mostly isolated to small town areas now, because back home, I was just home over the weekend and I was arguing with my cousin. He still loves rhubarb. He'll see how to eat rhubarb plain.
That's sort of weird.
Down
just
rhubarb.
pull it out of the ground and just yank it
I
off.
mean, he'll probably wash it first, I'm sure.
Interesting. Nick, well, I appreciate you getting involved in the bottom 5.
Yeah, thank you for letting me do one.
As we always say, when Josh is gone, we do a bottom 5 because Josh does a top 5 and Josh is too nice. So we like to get mean. And in this case, we like to yell at vegetables. And we appreciate Nick for doing that. Also, thanks for sitting in for a majority of the show today. We appreciate that as well. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find us. Thanks to Elkhorn High and thanks to Mike Sauter for having us out today. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, the replays will be up at 1620thezone.com if they are not already. We'll turn it over to Unsportsmanlike Conduct next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Summer is here, and if you have a